All right. We are now live, gentlemen. I'll let my other person join. I'll let them in. First off, thank you guys once again for doing this for me. This is our Father's Day talk. It's called The Power of the Dad: Stories of Strength, Sacrifice, and Love. I wanted to do this like we were about to say earlier, just because in my circle and a lot of circles I knew, um, I didn't know the stigma of the black absent father not in their child's lives. In my circle, everybody I knew was the fathers was very involved in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people I knew, and so I
Mm-hmm.
want to have this conversation and just talk about fatherhood and how awesome it is, and y'all experiences with fatherhood, and then give you guys a platform to just talk about, express yourself. This is like real talk. You can cry, you can cuss, you can enjoy yourself, you can do what you want. This is us, just a bunch of dads just talking and talk about how fatherhood is. And there you go, James. James, I'm putting you on stage because we live right now. So
Okay,
welcome. So
thank
I'll
you.
start. Go ahead and do a small intro of yourself. Then
Good
we'll go
evening,
out.
brothers. My name is James. I live in San Miguel here with Elton, and I am a retired nurse. And it's nice to meet you all, and I'm glad to be part of this forum.
How many kids you don't have to?
Also, I have one daughter, since we're talking about fatherhood, who is uh, 30 years old, and she'll be here next week to hang out with me for a week. So I'm real ecstatic about that.
All right, I'll go with Lorman.
I am Lorman Hiley. I'm 42 years old. I am a father of one son. Um, I live in Michigan, down here in Westland near Detroit. Took a minute to get this little one here, but we are blessed and we're happy to
Yeah,
have him here.
good, good. All right, Zay.
My name's Zay, Isaiah. Everybody call me Zay. 42 years old as well. I live in Los Angeles. I am the father of 17, soon to be 18-year-old.
Oof.
So yeah, I'm in those years. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So nice to meet everybody.
All right, D.
I'm Demarcus. Yeah, I'm here from Michigan. I'm 39, and yeah, I'm a father of one son, one very active little boy.
Yeah.
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 And I am Elton, father of two 11-year-old daughters, 6-year-old son, extremely active. And yeah, and that's me. I'm living here in, well, I'm going to tell y'all where I live because I don't know who watching this stream. I live in Houston, Texas. Um,
For sure.
and so, yeah. And so, yeah, so like I said, I put some fillers out. I did this for Mother's Day, and I put some fillers out. I want fathers to also have a platform to just talk and say what's on their mind and just talk about fatherhood and have a good conversation on what fatherhood is. I want to first, once again, thank you, fellas, so much for responding. I really appreciate it. I had
Absolutely.
few other people that couldn't make it. Shout out to James Sanders. He couldn't make it. His daughter got sick. Robert McCrae, he couldn't make it. I'm missing the other person. Oh, and Eugene. Eugene lives here in SMA with me. He has something to do. So I want to thank them so much for responding. So I'll start with my first question. This is for everybody. What was your initial reaction when you found out you were going to be a dad? And I'll start with James. I'll start with you, James.
Okay, I'm probably the oldest one here in the forum right now. So, to be perfectly honest with you, I was ecstatic. I didn't have any other children. I had a really good job. I had a good pension, good plan. And at the time, I was not married. But my wife, she also, my ex wife, I should say, she also had a good job, a good pension. And I said, I'm not going to be one of these men out here that just let this women, or this woman, if you will, have a baby, and then I'm living here and she's living there. And so um, we lived together. And after my daughter was born, we got married. And so I was really happy because I had felt like I had a lot to offer. I was mature enough to be able to take on the responsibility of of caring for a child and knew how to care for a child, if you will. It's always a learning process, but I wasn't afraid. My life is going to be ruined and child support and, some of the things that we see other people go through. I was really happy. And my family was really happy for me. So
Mhm.
I was a little
Yeah.
scared, but I was real happy. So, and I couldn't wait. I was doing everything, rubbing feet, rubbing back, cooking, painting, doing everything, trying to set up. So,
Putting that
and
baby
it,
crib together. Oh goddamn.
yeah.
We're gonna talk about that. That baby crib, that first baby crib. There's not enough instructions in the world putting that baby crib together. I'll go, Lorman. All right. What was your initial reaction?
Oh man, I'm a very anticlimactic person, so it was there was no jumping and hollering. There was just we had to take it. We had to go to the hospital the night we found out, and it was for something unrelated. And she brought me the paperwork back out, and she handed me the paperwork because I've always been just a person like, don't surprise me, just tell me, just give it to me straight. She handed me the paperwork, and I read down a little bit, and I see pregnant. I read again from the top, pregnant. And I look at her and I just say, okay. It's like, we've been together for 24 years and we'd been trying for 10 years. So to see
Wow.
that she was pregnant and prior to that, we had two miscarriages. So
Mm,
this was just like, yeah, I'm gonna take everything in stride and just keep on moving with it. So I'm the type of dad. I work with my hands. I'm very handy capable with tools and started building this room and painting and doing all of the stuff to make her comfortable. And I took over all the kitchen work. Man, I'm still the cook in the house. I have not relinquished that. I'm still in the kitchen cooking up every meal.
shout out to the cooking dads.
Hey, we out here. But yeah, there was this internal excitement, but there was a rage inside to just get up, run, and jump and do all the crazy stuff. And I was like, no, just keep it cool, keep it cool. But yeah, that's that's how I was when I found out.
That's cool. All right. What about Zay?
Say before you start, can I just interject one thing, please, brother?
Yeah, yeah.
When I said I didn't want to be one of those guys, I meant no disrespect to anybody because there are a lot of excellent dads out there who father from a distance, if you will.
Mhm.
They do what they have to do. So I'm not passing judgment. My father passed away when I was 10, and I knew exactly what I wanted in a family. So
Right.
Mm,
the people who are whatever the case may be, I'm not trying to pass judgment and say one of those guys. And I wanted to check myself on that. Thank you.
Fair
Oh,
point.
yeah.
I don't even
Yeah.
remember you saying it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um, for me, if we just having a real conversation, a real talk as you call it, uh, I wasn't excited.
mm,
Um,
okay.
I didn't have the luxury that a lot of you guys had or a lot of men have. I didn't have the luxury. My son's mother at the time, we were going through like a crazy time, and I was married to my son's mother, and we was going through a crazy time, like infidelity and all that type stuff. So,
Mm,
I found out she was pregnant once we decided to go our separate ways. Like we went our separate ways, and after not talking for like a month or so, I get the call like I'm pregnant, and my first mind is whose is it?
yeah.
Whose is it? You feel
Man,
me?
we ain't been together in a long time.
Yeah, yeah, and you already had a little homie on the side, and so I didn't get the excitement that I would have hoped to
Mm,
have, but just the possibility at the time before I got confirmation, obviously, but just the possibility that it could be mine, I showed up every day,
mm,
like I took care. I was at all doctor's appointments, um, she didn't have a great living situation. I moved her in with me so she could be comfortable.
It's
And
commendable. I like that.
yeah, Yeah, and just because when we were on good terms, she had a miscarriage as well. So I just knew how important it was to make sure that for the mother to be as stress free as possible. But it wasn't the most ideal situation. I'm gonna just be honest with you. It wasn't until my son came, he was born. The moment he was born, everything. That's when the excitement came. That's when nothing else mattered and nothing else was. It was just like I'm a dad, and every you know proud feeling of being a dad came. But the 9 months though, I didn't have it. I didn't have it. Yeah, I didn't have it at all. I
No,
didn't have
that's
it at all. It
real.
was a
Some
tough
people
9 months.
that's real. Some people ain't like, hey man, it's a lot.
I
That's
stepped up to the plate. I did what I was supposed to do, but I didn't do it with a smile.
I hear you. All right, D. What about you? Your initial reaction?
So I, what I'm saying, I was sitting up here thinking to myself, if I should, really share what I want to share, but I see we all got dynamic point of views and
Yeah.
things. So I had a situation when I was younger, in my 20s, where I had a child, but long story short, found out this child wasn't mine at 7, and I continued to stay in his life. As much as I could. I
Absolutely.
wasn't trying to intrude or nothing. So, long story short, now he's
Getting me mad all over again, thinking that was not. Keep
he'll
going.
he'll be 19. No, it's nothing to be mad at. He'll be 19 this year. He got a full ride to the University of Iowa, on an academic scholarship. So
Nice.
nothing to be mad at. I'm so proud. I'm still proud dad. Right now, this little guy's coming, and I knew he would.
Oh, go
Hold on one
ahead.
second.
Your little man coming.
Yep, give me 1 second, Jay. I'm doing the podcast, so give me 1 second. All right, go over there. I'm gonna be over there in a minute.
See, it don't stop. Look at the dad,
You
the
ain't.
real
No,
dad,
it don't
the
stop.
real dad,
Can we
real
play
dad in real
football?
time.
Yeah. This is a normal
Honestly,
thing.
I had to close the door tight because Noah already said, "Can I come get on?" I was like, "No, you can't."
See, yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing for us. No, but so when Jay was born, I actually was trying to have a child. I changed my diet.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, I did all the things that I needed to do.
I recommend to you the macadamia nuts.
Actually, you know what? Not the macadamia, the Brazil nuts.
Brazil
The
nuts.
Brazil
Brazil
nuts.
nuts.
Yeah, the Brazil nuts. You know what I mean? Those the best ones. I can, I'm living proof. I can tell you that. But no, when she got pregnant, man, I was excited. I was excited. So the night she got pregnant, one of my friends had a get together at his house. We had a little too much to drink. I was on my way home. Just so happened the police pulled me over right in back of my house. So my girl seen me being pulled over. The cop was gracious enough to let me go. And that night, you know what I mean? Like I walked in the house and she literally like, yo, showed me the stick, like, yo, I'm pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So I I had like a great night finding out all about my child. But man, when he came, I still had the thought of the child who wasn't mine in my head. So, I was being unfair to her asking for a blood test. And, I knew it was mine. I knew he was mine. I really had I couldn't really question it. You know what I mean? We was together the whole time and everything. Great relationship, he came, man. It was, the most exciting thing to me. I was 32. I was kind of like an old dad, I feel like, but right now we still having fun, you see. Come, Dad, can we play football? Right now. So
Look, I was 38 when mine came, so
38. Oh, okay. So I don't feel bad.
I have a 6-year-old, so yeah, dad.
See, y'all 30. I'm 42 and might have another one.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
I thought you was younger than me. No,
Yeah,
so
another one.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say another one. Be fruitful. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
be
Yeah.
it.
fruitful. Now, I'm not trying to Nick Cannon that thing. I'm just
No,
Nah,
trying
not Nick
these
Cannon.
weeds
Not
ain't
Nick
these weeds
Cannon.
ain't fruitful. This
Hey,
grass ain't
hey,
fruitful. I don't
Hey,
know
you
about
can
not
that.
not
you can
Nick
afford
Cannon.
it.
But you
You
can
can
do
afford
that
it.
when you can afford it. If I could
You can
Nick.
afford
afford
it,
it.
yes.
Nah.
I want to.
Maybe Nick Revolver, not Nick Cannon.
Nick Fury, yeah, Nick Fury,
Nick
but the
Dillinger.
cashier. I can't. I
Yeah,
want like
Nick
cashier Nick. That's
Nick
what I
Clean
want.
Shot.
Nick
Yeah.
Slingshot.
No. Yeah. So
You ain't
I'll tell
canning
y'all
it.
my story. So me and Danielle, had a good night. And literally me and Danielle woke up. I'll never forget. I mean, it was like it was yesterday. A Saturday morning, we woke up. Her mom called us and said, "Hey, I had a dream about this little I think it was either a bunny or a squirrel." And she said it was just fully and running around. And Danielle looked at, we had on speakerphone. Danielle bawled out because Danielle knew she was pregnant. And so, we waited maybe like a month or two because at first, I think within our first month or two, when we took a test, it didn't say anything. It said negative. And so we waited and then took another test, and she was pregnant. And I was ecstatic. My initial reaction was I was so overjoyed. I'm not gonna lie, because I wanted a child. Me and Danielle had been together. I want to say we had been together a while, but we had been married like 5 or 6 years. And I don't know about y'all, but everybody hit y'all with the when you
When you
really
gonna have
When you gonna
you're
have
gonna
one?
kids?
have kids, and people have no idea like if there's some issues with fertility in the
Absolutely.
relationship. So it's at this age now, I understand how insensitive it is. I make sure not to ask people myself, especially women, "Oh, we all gonna have kids and do this," because it's extremely insensitive
You think I'm
legally.
living in the house with my wife not trying?
Yeah, I had one of my cousins ask me, he was like, "You gay?" I'm like, "I'm married." He's like, my Danielle was sitting in the house with me. I'm like, "What you mean?" I'm like, "My
Yeah.
wife is here. What you talking about?"
We
People
ain't
be.
just watching TV.
I was like, "No, I'm not trying to have kids. I'm not trying to be with 15 kids in a 2-bedroom home. No, I am watching my sperm count very heavily. I just don't want a lot of kids yet." And so that was I was just overjoyed. And even to go further, when I found out I was having a little girl first, I was very much like, I think I was just Viola Davis crying. I was just so excited. We was
Yeah.
at the doctor. So that was my initial reaction. I was just excited to have a child. But I'm done now. I got these two. That's it. I ain't want more.
Mhm.
Life is expensive.
Yeah.
That was my thing too, and we've been trying, and we get the same questions, and we had to, like, when my mother was alive, it was just like stop, it just stop.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's intimate, right? So
Yeah.
you're not telling all of the intimate details. And I know, like, society thinks that men don't have feelings and we don't go through stuff, but we're watching our wives go through this, and if we have any amount of feelings,
Mhm.
yeah, we right there with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like if a married couple, if I do ask a question, I ask, are you planning to have children? And I
Mm.
leave it at that. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
if you're planning to have children, cool. If you're not, cool too. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Zay, I think it was Zay. Something I want to go back to you about. I forgot. I'm old now. Never mind. Let me go to the next question. So what?
But I just wanted to say that you brothers have enlightened me with the whole personal fertility thing, because I have one grandchild who's 3 years old, and my current wife, God bless her, uh, her son just got married, and she keeps asking them, when we gonna have kids? So right after we finish this,
Yeah.
You gonna tell
we're
her?
gonna go talk. We're gonna go talk.
I don't.
Real,
Don't do
real.
it too much, Zay. I don't want you spending the night over here tonight.
I'm gonna tell her Elton said.
Oh yeah.
And you can't.
And where
You can't do
is
that.
that
I don't
other
have Danielle here as a
that?
buffer. I'm not trying to get beat up.
But you get the other part of the house ready yet? Because he comes.
No, but no, because I know I've got some friends that it's a friend from my hometown. She's actually big on she's a big advocate on miscarriages, and so that made me think, because people, it ain't like people ain't trying. People is out here ovulating, women are having like, hey, we every day we getting it in, and it's
Yep.
not happening.
Yeah.
And whatever God's plan is, I know a couple that they for a long time they were trying and didn't have, and they adopted, and then the wife got pregnant. One a coworker of mine, same thing happened to her. They were trying for years, they couldn't get pregnant. Doctor said, maybe you should adopt. And they adopted. Literally, I think a month later, she got pregnant after adoption. And so you never know what people are going through. It takes an emotional toll on people when you're asking them that. It's a lot of pressure, when y'all going, even like when you gonna get married. Some people, everybody not want to get married. So even stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So my next question, now your initial reaction, child is here. How has fatherhood changed you as a person?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And if y'all, I can start so y'all can get you going. For me, fatherhood has really, really brought in perspective of just watch what you do. Danielle very big on me when I'm talking to my daughter, making sure I'm not hollering at her. Being a man, because I don't want when she get married and get a man, the man holler at her or raise his hand at her or anything. Because even now she's at the age where my daughter has come into her womanhood. I don't whoop her. I try not to whoop her because I don't want her to think that's the whole thing of getting a whooping. So we do different types of punishments. For her, is let me take that computer. You don't get no Robux. That is punishment for her. With my son, I used to be real rough. I'm not as rough with him anymore because I don't want him to be rough with any other people and be very aggressive. So as a person, it's just changed me in a lot of ways to just think about what I do consciously. I was reading some about, the words that you say to your kids. Don't call them lazy. Don't call them stupid. Don't do that. There was another lady I just seen a video last week. She was saying whenever our kids do something, she start praying right there in front of her kids, like rebuke it, and then their attitude changes. So those type of things just make me very conscious of what I do around them. And then the big point of me is how I treat their mother. My parents divorced when I was in middle school. And my dad, I love him to death, but he did things infidelity wise, used to take me with him and do those things. So when I got married and had kids, I was like, I'm not going to do those things around my kids or with my kids. Plus, Danielle got this thing, like if somebody cheat, you get custody of them kids, and I don't want full custody. It's hard out here. Danielle going out of town now, and goddamn, it is tough. I'm like, when are you coming back? I literally, before I jumped on job, just finished cooking a whole meal. I'm tired. I can't. Single parent life is for the birds. Whoever told you this, they be glorifying single parent, they lying. That is bullshit. It is tough. That single parent life is tough. So yeah.
Look, that right there, that messaging right there is a whole nother show.
It's tough.
So, we got some words over here in this household for that mess.
Yeah. So how I treat their mother is a big thing for me as a person, for them to see. I want them to see the marriage I have with their mother. I want them to have it. They may not have it, but I want them to see like your mother is loved unconditionally. And so as a person, I'm just trying to be a good man and good father, good husband, good dad, whatever it takes to show them so they can be productive in society, so they can get out of my house at a certain amount of time and do their own thing. So yeah. So whoever want to jump in, I'll
go. I think it changed me in two ways. In phases. Let me say that. Being now the father of a almost adult, I feel like it changes you in phases. So when he was young, everything you do is for the betterment of your child. The jobs you take, the money you spend, how you, like you said, Elton, like, the things you say, you want them to have the things that they need, and you sacrifice everything to make sure that they have to want for nothing, like they don't know what that means to need and to want. So I just became selfless, like nothing, selfless with my time, selfless with my finances. selfless with, you know, my love and things like that. And it was focused on developing my child, you know. When they start hitting that teenage years, and now they're preparing for the second part of life, a second phase of life. They're no longer children, so they don't need the same types of things that I got good at giving them. You know what I mean? So now he has to see me as a man.
Mm-hmm.
So now my son, the things that I do as a man, I'm very watchful of. I'm very mindful of. You know what I mean? I have to be, and like you said, Elton, how I don't have a wife, but how I treat women.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He has to. That's important to me. How he sees me get up for work,
That's
and
that's
how,
what it was. You made me remember now. When you said you moved the mother of your child in with you,
yeah,
I was like, that's extremely commendable because
yeah.
most people probably would be like, nah.
Nah. It was. Those are the sacrifices I'm talking about. Even he wasn't even here yet, and I was sacrificing for him.
Yeah, but to even
And
be conscious of that at such a young age, like you know, being young, like that's a big deal. He don't see that now, but that's a big deal for him. You know, growing up when you could tell him that story, like that's
mm-hmm,
to me, I feel like that's a big deal. I think
mm-hmm.
it can be flossed over. Shout out to you, just flat out
Oh
for
man,
that.
yeah, appreciate it. But yeah. So now I just think um, it's changed me, and again, like now I have to everything that I do, even as an adult. Um, he's seeing. So like I said, how I treat women, you know, him seeing me go to work is important. Him seeing me clean up around the house, you know, and leading by example. You know, him seeing how I just treat people. You know what I'm saying? Focusing on school, focusing on all these different things. Like, so now I have to be accountable. You know what I'm saying? As a man, one of my biggest fears as a father is me trying to check my son on something. He'd be like, "You don't do it."
Mm, that's
You know what I'm
big.
saying?
Being a hypocrite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's one of my biggest fears. So before I challenge him on certain things, I make sure I'm blameless myself. So it's times I see his room is a mess, and I want to walk in there and tell him clean your room, and I go, "Hold on, let me look at my room. Oh shit, let me clean. Let me let me clean my. You feel me? You know, let me clean mine first, and then be like, clean your room. You know, because then he can't say anything. So one of my biggest fears is him saying, "You didn't do it, so I don't have to do it." And this is something that could benefit him. Like, even though I didn't do it, doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. But that's not, as they become teenagers, that's not how they perceive it, especially when they thinking they know everything. So it's also held me accountable for a lot of things. You know what I mean? Hold me accountable. Like, I don't feel like cleaning up, but let me clean up if I'm gonna tell him to clean up. You know, let me tell him. Let me show him respect if I want him to respect me.
Yeah.
You know, because when they were young, you just tell them, you do as I say. Like, you can't beat me up. You
Yeah.
know, do what I say, or you're gonna get
Until.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You got,
Right.
you got that
It's gonna
speed
come
on you
down
now.
there.
You may got that strength, but now you got
You
that
know,
speed.
Right.
Yeah. You know, like you said, I can't. He don't care if I take his game or nothing like that. That don't matter at this age. You know what I mean? Respect matters to him. And so yeah, it just that's how it changed me.
Cool. I like the evolution of
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, no,
Brother, you had a real good template, man. I'm proud of
thank
you. I
you,
don't even know you.
thank
I'm
you,
proud of you, man.
appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
yeah.
All right. Who else wanna chime in
No,
on that? Y'all
so I go. Yeah, I go in off of what they said. Like you said, it was levels. It was an evolution for real because when my son was born, like I said, I was 32. I had been single all my life.
Hmm.
Wasn't really. I wasn't thinking about nobody, thinking about building a legacy. So yeah, when my child came, I would say when he turned about 2, it really like snapped like in my head, like I gotta have something for him. So yeah, I think you know, um, a lot of the little small things that used to matter, it don't matter no more. You know what I mean? Having a legacy for him, leaving something for him, and I do want another child, so just having a legacy to leave behind. You know what I mean? And hey, I think it changed me that way. I'm not so selfish. You know what I mean? I used to be a very selfish person. So
Right, right.
yeah.
You become family oriented. Like look, don't judge me. Y'all don't judge me now. Like I'm like adamant about getting a minivan. Danielle be like, nah, man.
Listen.
Like,
Why did I say the same thing?
Listen,
the minivan got everything you need.
Minivans are cool
maybe
though.
not a minivan, but like they got nicer ones now, not like the one like our mama's had. They got some
the
little sporty.
The Pacifica is me.
Let me tell y'all why I thought of a minivan.
That Pacifica is
Danielle
me.
used to
Yeah.
go shopping with the baby.
dope.
I seen something in the news where people was walking up and robbing people, and they were at their cars. So with a minivan, I was like, look, we'll have it. The doors are already, you can already open the doors. And with a door, it's the front of it. You can't see really in front of you. So if she's in there putting the baby in the car seat or something, somebody can walk to the front. With a minivan, if you open both doors, the door ain't in the way. So I'm like, look, I'm gonna have a pistol under the seat.
On the lap.
You don't want to get the pistol. I'm like, if you don't want to grab the pistol, I got my knife under the other seat. Like it was weapons in my car. But it was just like my mentality switched to like straight family oriented. I was like, we got a lot of people. Look, we had literally Danielle had a car, I had a car, and then my mother-in-law car. We had 6 car seats. I was like, we need a minivan. So
6 car seats, you a school bus.
I hope my wife is watching right now. See, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one, honey. See, I'm not abnormal.
No, I still want a minivan. Even us here in Houston, I want a minivan. All right.
Yeah, I ain't ready for the minivan.
You want me to go to a different question? Next one. All right, I go to my next question.
No, I wanted to chime in on that the last question. Excuse me. After he came, I think I became even more intentional about going off of what the fella said before, having a legacy and leaving something behind. For him to be proud of, for him to look up to.
Absolutely.
Talking about these things with my wife, I can articulate what I felt as a young man with my father being around, but not having the words or the know-all to impart certain things on me. So having my son, I was just telling my buddy of mine last week because we had a meeting about something, and I said having my son makes me feel like a Super Saiyan. It makes me feel like I'm invincible. I can do anything. I can accomplish anything that I want to if I put my mind to it. And that's kind of how I felt after he came. It was just like, yeah, there ain't no turning back now. You got things to do. So I started to do some self-examination, and I'm a big history buff when it comes to certain things, especially about men and the lack of conversations that we've had with some of our elders. And just kind of going off of, historical context of what I could get to see how those men had to work, to see how they had to show up, to see what they had to do, and to carefully curate my mind to today's date. And how do I need to show up in my son's life and as well as my wife's life as a husband? So I became more intentional on certain things and became immovable on a lot of things. It's just like stuff I might have been wishy-washy on. It's just like I have a different perspective on life now, and especially my walk with God. Just a different perspective on how I'm being led to. I don't even know where I'm being led to, but it's not the point. I know I'm on a journey somewhere, and
being the kingdom priest, being that kingdom priest.
Yeah, I'm being led somewhere. I don't know where I'm being led to, but I'm enjoying the journey as I go along.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. Jens, you want to chime in or?
I think Zay pretty much really said how I feel. I just magnified my love and efforts to like the nth degree, if you will.
Hmm.
There was nothing at that point that I would not do. In
Absolutely.
my mind, she was already my wife. That title has always meant extreme significance to me. Instead of saying this is just my girlfriend, and my intention was, okay, I'm going to put the ring on, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this. And there wasn't a day that I didn't treat her like a queen, period. And I still treat my daughter like a queen.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of things that I did stop doing. Um, you know, hanging out like, yeah, I can go home and whatever. No, no, no. All of that is you have to make a choice. You have to make a sacrifice,
Right.
and the sacrifice is to have peace in your house
Mhm.
and to be the best person that you can, so you have peace in your head and also in your heart, knowing that you did everything possible
Yeah.
uh, to be the best. Doesn't always
Yeah.
work, but knowing that you can look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I think I did my 100% best. No regrets. I
Absolutely.
should have did this. I should have did that. I have none. I have none.
Mhm. That's
I
good.
love
That's
that. I love
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and until this day, my ex-wife, we're not as close as we used to be, but she always respects me as a man and
Mhm.
a father. And if there's anything, she used to call me and tell me, I was talking to Courtney, and she sounds different, and this and that, and I'm like, she is different. She's not our little girl anymore.
Yeah.
And like Zay was saying, we have to approach her from that perspective.
Hmm.
You can't, exclude that fact. So, um, but yeah, it definitely changed me for the better. Prior to that, I mean, I'm not gonna say a gangster, but I was drinking 40s and carrying 45s, and
Yeah, like Demarcus said, yeah, we was all a little selfish at the before that.
you know,
For
I'm
real.
from I'm from New York. Not that New York is a bad place, but it's about self protection. I wasn't trying to start nothing, but I wasn't trying to, be carried out, laid up on the sidewalk someplace either.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know
So
my spending really changed. You financially, things changed. I was like, I can't. I'll go in the store and be like, man, I'm about to get this and this. I'll be like, nah, I got to get these baby wipes and these diapers. Let me budget for that next. I can get that. Like you
hey man.
sacrifice a lot for the kids too. Like that
yeah,
changed.
I felt like that part was easy for me. It's this part that's breaking me now.
Oh,
yeah,
what?
No.
Especially when I had support too. I can't even lie. Like I had, I
Mm,
got a great family, and my family love what I love. We love what each other love. So when I had my child, they love me. They love my child. So you know, I could go to my aunt's house and she'd be like, "Oh, I bought your son a brand new bed, and I just thought about him, and so I had a sister, so it was. I think for me, financially, as the young ages was, I could have had 5 kids based off of how I felt. It wasn't that difficult for me.
hard.
Like 11 and up, though, yeah,
It changed.
yeah.
Started to
Oh
weigh a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. Two jobs, two jobs.
Yeah.
I
I
know, I know.
think
Also, one more thing is that when people see you changing yourself and trying to help and better yourself for your family, they will almost help you immediately without you even asking.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah. I
oh,
had
I
that.
bought
Yeah.
you a bed, because they see that you really stepping up.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You want me
I
to
had
night
that
out, bring
support.
the kids over here, something like that.
Yep, 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 yep.
So
mentality,
I
I,
like
got you.
getting hand me downs when I was younger, getting hand me downs. Somebody, I don't want them clothes. Now I'm like,
You realize
man,
the
I'll
importance
take
of it.
them.
I'll
Yeah,
take
say
it.
that.
Like
I'll
food
take them.
not like I mean they all laugh because when we used to be at work and they had potlucks, they gonna throw that food. I was like, nah, I'll take that shit home. And I
Uh-huh.
had
Yeah, yeah.
man, I got 4, 5
What
pieces.
y'all gonna do with all that chicken?
All
Throw it
that food, I took
away?
it home. I have no shame in it.
Right. None.
Good salary, but this is
Yeah.
free food. I ain't gotta cook. I ain't gotta go buy nothing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They ain't
Yeah.
turning down no help. That's for sure.
there
That's
you
for
go.
sure.
Down no
For
So
help.
there you
sure.
go.
I remember us even, I don't know if y'all did, it's like even as the kids get bigger, we have friends and they may have kids, and we like, hey, we got all these clothes.
Yep.
Y'all can have, and then when y'all kids outgrow them, give it to the next couple that may want them or whoever. But we don't want to. We recycling this stuff, and it's funny because I'll see my stuff that I've given away, and my son, communities, be, oh, that's my shirt. I'm like, no, that's not your shirt. That's his shirt.
It don't fit you no more.
Yep.
It belongs to him
No.
now.
Yeah. All right. So another question to segue, because we were just talking about the kids and stuff. I know this is a big thing for me. Are you affectionate with your children? So like for me, I'm very affectionate. As my daughter gotten older and my son got older, I've kind of back up. Like going in there with her, kissing her, hugging her. I don't do as much now that she's 11. She like, and I'm gonna tell y'all the truth, and it gonna make me. It breaks my heart that she don't be wanting to spend time now, because she's just at that age and she be like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing, Dad. Versus when she was younger, like, Dad, let's watch a Disney movie. I'm like, hell yeah, let's watch a Disney movie. Let's watch a cartoon. You want to go to the park? Let's get ice cream. Now it's like, hey, baby, you want to watch anime with me? She like, nah, I'm gonna go in the room and watch it by myself. I'll be like, okay. Now, Noah, I'll be like, hey, Noah, let's watch this anime. He'll be like, oh yeah, Dad. Like Dale's going out of time. Like, can I sleep in the bed with you? And I was like, nah. But then I was thinking like tonight, I was like, I may let him sleep in bed with me. But he's the affectionate one. But I am very affectionate, hugs, kiss, praying together, sitting down, having conversations. But as they're getting older, the affection is changing. It's like they don't want that. Like Noah, now when he goes to school, he hugged me before he leaves to go walk. Goodbye, Dad. Talk to you later. Camille used to do that. Now she'll go out the house and I don't even know she'd be gone. Like, bye. I was like, oh, okay, bye. No hug, nothing.
Yeah. It's an evolution that we all went through. Some of us may not even remember it, but you just have to, I guess, as dads, we have to adapt to it, and just change and figure out how we kind of fit into their lives at a certain point. Because, like you said, at a certain point, it's like, okay, it's all about them. They're young, they're cute, they're so cuddly, and you play them and throw them across the room. Some of us do. But then when they get bigger, it's like, okay, well, I can't do that stuff no more. You don't even want me to do that stuff no more. So now I'm trying to figure out where I fit in. And that's a challenge for a lot of people, because a lot of people don't want to let go of the past. They don't want to let go of that new baby smell. They don't want to let go of them snuggles. But for me, like even today, this is a perfect example. My wife came home from taking him out to a play group, and he was asleep. I just went in the room and I just smelled his head. I don't know why. I smelled his head and then I kissed his forehead and then I walked away and I went back and did it again. So it was just like some of the stuff I can't even explain. It's just, I guess it's just a natural thing. Yeah. But I find myself doing them and then looking back and thinking about it, it was like, yeah, you did that. Yeah. Okay. Let's acknowledge it. That's kind of weird, because it was just it was an urge. It was compulsion to do it. So I don't know if anybody else experiences those types of those types of
they go to bed at night, go and kiss both of them when they sleep. I'll go, make sure they tucked in, go kiss both of them.
Yeah. I was like that. Like with my son, like very, very affectionate. My son was with me all the time. I got joint custody of my son when he was about 6 months. But no, maybe about 4 or 5 months. And then like full custody of him when he was about 7 or 8. And when he was younger though, I was a sucker, straight sucker. Like, I wanted to be next to him. We was inseparable, man. We was inseparable. Like you said, like I was just walking in the room when he was asleep, kissing his feet, kissing him, and leaving him. Like, maybe I didn't kiss that part of that arm. Let me see that I kiss his arm. Like, and make sure he knows I loved him. Spent all the quality time in the world with him. It's the reason our relationship today, even though it is at that know-it-all, I don't need you, I know what I'm doing phase, the foundation is based off of that time, like what he, from just always being around. Like now though, I can't, I barely get him to shake my hand now because he always, he's always on the phone or, he just texts and says, Dad, I'm with my friends, or, I sent the request, I sent the Cash App request, and that's the kind of like dynamic we have now. I try to. Sometimes it's hurtful. I'm not gonna lie. If we having a real talk.
I was just gonna ask you, like, does it break your like? I'm not gonna lie.
If we having a real talk, it's very hurtful. It's very hurtful. It's very sad, especially because I only have one kid too. So, like, it's all he's all I had. He's all I have. It's been me and him for so many years, and it's all I have. And when he doesn't want it, I have, like, it feels like you have nothing. You know what I'm saying? And when they rather do other things, and you're conflicting with them because, like I said, he'll be 18 in a few months, so he's really at that adult age.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like man to man. It's not like father and son.
Yeah.
It's like man to man. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of miss it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It does hurt. It hurts a lot.
We need
saying?
our own recovery groups, man. We need just
it hurt. It hurt because I be trying too, and then I get rejected, and it's like Because then it makes me feel. Then it makes me feel like, why am I not fathering good enough? Like, I'm a cool dad. Like,
it makes you question everything.
Why do you not like me like that? Why don't you like me?
I'm not a good father. What did I do to you?
I didn't do nothing,
Look. You know what? Let me give you some perspective on that, because my dad would try that with me when he was alive. He would try, to give me hugs and stuff like that, and I would almost cringe anytime he got too close to me because I felt uncomfortable. And I don't even know why. I honestly can't tell you why. It was just it was an internal feeling. Mm-hmm. So I played myself away, when he tried to hug me, I'm like, yeah, I love you, Dad. Okay. But man,
does it get you as the former teenager with your dad? My dad wasn't around, so I never had that experience.
Yeah.
Does it get better? Like, did you ever want to hug him again?
No. No, it not for me. Only for me. It didn't get any better. It didn't get any better. I mean, there were some times, like the pivotal moments, like when we got married. Me and my wife got married.
Norman's not giving us any hope.
Yeah, no.
That I knew it was obligatory, but it was not something that it wasn't something I craved. I'll say that. It wasn't something I still hug my dad. I never thought that.
But what I'm saying is, if he tried it again, was it like, okay, I'm old enough to understand
Nope.
the fatherly love that he's trying to give? Like, I'm gonna keep hope alive.
Not with this, guys. I only speak for me, but but no, it didn't get any better. It wasn't a negative thing. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, I believe that. Yeah,
it never got any better to where I was just like very receptive to it. It was more like, I know I need to do this, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it because he's here. I'm not.
See, that's what he does now. Like, if I can, but it's like a girl that, you can tell she's not interested in you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can feel it. I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, son, I'm getting ready to go to work. He be like, all right.
Yeah.
Love you too. I'm like, do you?
Pretty much.
I didn't really feel it. I didn't really feel the love, but okay. Don't worry about it.
No, I'll say this. Now, maybe it's because I'm a little older now. If my dad was alive now, I would probably be more receptive to it. But I think it might have something to do with me having a son now. So I'm more conscious of it.
You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm more conscious of it. So if my dad was around now, yeah, I would actually, hug him, no problem. Wouldn't have that feeling.
Yeah.
So the ironic thing is, like, so my dad passed away 2020, but I was super affectionate with my dad, but he wasn't an affectionate person, you know what I'm saying? But I would, like, kiss his forehead, kiss his cheeks, hug him. Like I would do all of that, you know what I'm saying? And so ironically, you know, I ain't too affectionate with my son. The most affection we do is like I tell him I love him. We dap up, you know, we pound. He got these twisties in his hair, so I'll do that for about 10, 20 minutes. That's the affection that we have. But the flip side of that is like when I'm chilling, he'll just come kiss my forehead or hug my head. Like he's real affectionate towards me. So
I'll take that.
yeah.
No, Zay. How old is this?
I'll take a secret handshake. Can we get a little secret?
Oh
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
We got the we definitely got the dap.
Yeah,
Mine
you
right
feel me?
now, Camille loves anime, and that is my go-to. I'll be like, "You want to watch anime?" And she'll be like, "Oh, okay," because I like anime. But everything else, we go on daddy-daughter dates. It's just like nothing. We went and got a pedicure, and I posted, and I got like paint on my toes. She's like, "Nah, man, why you do that?" I was like, "You gonna get no color?" She's like, "Yeah." So even we went out to eat. I took her. She loves sushi. I took her to sushi.
My son loves sushi too.
It was just like nothing. It was literally like you said. It's like trying to like a girl that like. I was like, why you don't like me? What did I do?
Nothing. You got nothing for me?
Nothing.
When I go back and look at these old videos and pictures of my baby, like she was daddy. It's a transition because she was daddy's girl. When I had her, she was daddy's girl. Now she's not daddy's girl.
Yeah.
So it's different. Oh, James fell off. He'll be back. I'll let him when he come back. Yeah. So affection. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's funny. All right. So, what has been the most challenging aspect of fatherhood for you?
Who's go ahead. Yep.
I'm sorry, brothers. The power went out in my house, and
no
I'm using my iPhone right now. Hopefully, it'll click back on because it's hot as I don't know what outside. I apologize.
So I asked the question, and I think the mark's going to say, "What has been the most challenging aspect of fatherhood for you?"
So I would say for me, the most challenging thing has been not having been with my son mom. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Am I giving a feedback?
You speaking to the car?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Is that the special day? Means they're gonna have a whole separate thing. These kids. I've giving you.
All right, let me. I'll come back. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. When you come back. All right. Oh, am I got feedback? Hello. Oh, somebody got the Bluetooth music. Does Zay fall out?
No, I'm right here.
Lauren, you here? Just me and you. All right, Jane.
I was just making sure it wasn't me.
That's feedback. Make sure. Mute my computer.
Hello.
I
think that's better.
Mute. You don't want to.
All right. Am I good now?
It's feedback from.
Oh, it's on everybody in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself. Just everybody mute yourself as one person talk, then we'll unmute yourself.
I can hear you great.
All right, go ahead, DeMarcus.
Where was I?
What has been the most challenging aspect of fatherhood?
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. So yeah, having a baby mom. You know what I'm saying? In hindsight, I would have went ahead and got married before I had my child, but since I didn't, I have yeah, just learning how to co-parent with somebody that you're not with. You know what I mean? You so used to breaking up with somebody and then moving on, but then when you break up with somebody and you gotta continue to raise a child with that person, it's not easy at all. Well, it wasn't easy for me, but yeah, I think that's probably the most challenging thing. And I mean, I'm old enough to where taking care of my son financially, it don't even bother me. He's spoiled as hell, so that's really the only thing that's been challenging as far as that goes.
Um, I think for me, it's along the lines of what Demarcus said, but um, I identify as a single dad. So, uh, raising a kid, being the primary parent for 85, 90% of his life, and even the other 15%, and not to turn this into baby mama bashing type situation like that, but um, she was kind of unstable all over the place, moving. She kind of, how we talked earlier about what we sacrifice for our children. She's not the sacrifice type. She's the kind of person who was create her life the way she wants it and then determine how the child fits in it.
Mm.
And if it doesn't fit, then I don't know what to tell you. So that's where I would come in and say, no, I'm not, he's not going, he don't fit, but he fits over here. So just being, financially, um, the primary provider, physically the primary provider, and taking on the responsibility in areas where I'm not strong in. Like we're men, we're meant to be protectors, we're meant to be providers, and leaders and things like that. So, I'm not as savvy with the nurturing as a woman, as a mother would be or should be, as they typically are. And that balance, like DeMarcus said, that, maybe one would have in the household with the wife or with the woman, the balance that, now you're in the house with a man. I grew up tough. I grew up in the streets. I'm like former street dude. So a lot of my like ideologies and belief systems come from being raised in survival mode. You know
They
what I'm
call
saying?
it they call
So
it toxic masculinity nowadays.
yeah. So
Yeah,
and
it's just regular
even though,
masculine though.
right. And so I'm like trying to teach him the parts of being a man that I'm strong in. He still needs a level of nurturing that I'm not as good in. And
Mm.
sometimes it can cause conflict because he needs it though, but he's not in his place.
Yeah.
His mom doesn't live out here. His mom is not around. So sometimes he doesn't get it adequately. But at the same time, I stand on the things that I feel and I say, because as a man, I know you're going to need these tools later. I can't go soft on you. I can't let up on you in certain aspects. I just can't. Even though you need X, Y, and Z, and I know you need it. I know you need it. I just can't give it to you.
Hmm.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's been a struggle for like years. That's been a struggle. And sometimes I've had to do it. I've had to just like, come here, son. Let me love
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And it's like I had to end scene. Now let me go back to being, who I
I,
am
I
because
think
but
I think it's fair for because I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
You want to be tough. You want to show him. You want him to have that tough exterior. You know what I mean? You want him to be able to walk out in the world and be able to handle any situation. And
Mm.
in our mind, we gotta give him a little tough love so he can go out there and
Just be a man. I don't even want
Yeah,
him to
be
be
a
a tough
man.
guy. Just to be a
Yeah, not
man.
tough, but just to be able to hold your own. You know what I'm
Absolutely,
saying?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not around, I want you to be able to hold your own. But at the same time, I think, and that go back to the last question too. That's another thing. I tapped into my femininity. You know what I'm saying? Like my feminine side. Like with my son, I'm tough with him all the time, but I do notice those times, like you said, when he needed. I just throw all of that other stuff out the window. You know what I'm saying? I learned how to lay my pride aside and really just give him love. You know what I'm saying? I'll cry with him sometime. Like, and he only, he's 6'7", so we learning this thing together. But I understand what you're saying when you say you wanna, you want to be tough, and it's hard to
Yeah.
Yeah.
break
Yeah, and
out
some
that
lessons,
side.
just there's some lessons like this. Like I said, there's some lessons that you
No, I'll tell you, 101. Yeah, I think it's.
you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
You caught out.
oh no, I was just saying. Even like we all as men, we just know there's some lessons, some not all, but there's some lessons that as a man, we have to learn. We have to learn. You know what I mean? It's the reason why, you know, Camille's gonna be 25 years old, and she'll be able to jump on your lap and say, "Daddy, Daddy, can I have a kid?" You know what I'm saying? But at 25, you ain't gonna let Noah do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna let Noah sit in your lap talking about, "Daddy, can I have it?" You're gonna be like, "Boy, if you don't get off me, like."
Yeah.
There's some, and not because you love Camille more than Noah, but
Mhm.
Noah's gonna have to be that for his children one day.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to know how to be that for his son, for his wife, and things one day. And if he
It's
ain't
tough on
learning
us.
it here,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It's
But
tough.
then,
It's tough on us. It's
yeah,
tough
yeah,
on
it's
that.
tough. Yeah. But when there's a balance, you can say, Noah, sit down because I said so. And then, Danielle go in there and be like, come here, man. Let me give you, your daddy means well.
Yep.
And,
Oh my God.
pop, 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 pop. And they gonna laugh and joke, and he gonna come out the room and still love you because he's in a good mood now because mama went out. You know what I'm saying? When I piss my son off, we don't talk for 2 days. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We don't talk for 2 days. You know what I'm saying? Because then we both mad. It's both men in the house. Like I'm
Yeah.
just mad and stuff. So, like I said, in the first phase of life, it was easy, man. Like they just love you unconditionally, and you love. You know what I mean? Like I could be a horrible person in the world. I don't care. That's my dad. I love him. You know what I mean? And as you transition and trying to show them the ways of the world and tough love, not being tough, but letting them learn through error.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it kind of gets
You got to
hard.
know when to do it and when not. That's I will
Yeah,
say having Danielle, that my partner, she is the one that if I'm being too tough, Danielle can say, "Hey," she'll give me a different perspective from her being
absolutely.
a woman and her because I don't talk to her and she like, okay,
Hmm.
I hear you, I feel you. But the thing is being receptive. That's the other part of that. When she's
Yeah.
I'm very receptive. Sometimes I'm be like, nah, it did. Like my thing with Camille now is she lies. That Camille can be
Ooh, she at that
faithful
stage.
stuff.
Oh my
Her
God.
lying when she lies for absolutely no reason,
Oh
it
Jesus.
irks me because I'm like, lying will lead you to a life of just crazy. We
Hmm.
have people that are buried and dead and gone because they lied about something.
Hmm.
Your mama thinking you somewhere else. You may have got shot now. You got
Hmm.
killed. You lied. That bothers me really, really bad with my daughter and Noah, because Noah now does it. And I'll be like, why you lie? I'll be like, hey, did you get some juice? No, I didn't get. I'm gonna give y'all good stuff. Camille, the other day, Camille got juice, and I smelled her cup. I said, you had juice? She said, no, I ain't no juice. I smelled the cup. I said, you you got juice in the cup. She said, nah, water was in that. Juice was in that cup. I poured it out and put water in it. This is her story. And I said, and instantly I was like, you think I'm a goddamn fool? You think
She done pulled the juice out.
there was no reason to lie. I would have been like, you had some juice, now you can't get no more. Get water. She made an elaborate lie. And I was just so bothered because I'm
Can
like,
I
how seen people do that?
I want to, it's so funny that she's in the lion stage, because my son went through a lion stage too. If y'all just allow me, give me like 2 minutes to tell you this story. It's going to be funny. It's going to be, I tell it to anybody that allow me to tell it to him, man. My son was about maybe like 9-ish, 10-ish, somewhere around there, elementary school.
Okay, so it's that age.
He thought wearing glasses were cool because his best friends had glasses, right? So he thought they're cool. All my friends have glasses, so he would come home and say, "Dad, I need glasses." I'm like, "You don't need glasses, so Corey, you see fine, right?" So he would go to school, and the teachers would start calling me like, "Hey, yes, he wasn't doing his work in school class today. Just check on that." And when I would go to the parent conference and talk to the teacher and him, the story is he can't see the board. So they would move him. So follow me. Nothing's funny yet, guys. I promise you, nothing's funny yet. So we went through this whole thing, moving him in front of the class. He still can't see. The teacher tried to do everything in her power. You know what I'm saying? And she got to the point where she low-key believed him now. So, okay, I got it. So listen, I got insurance. I take off work, take the kid to the optometrist. You know what I'm saying? The optometrist does the little one hand on the eye, put your eye in through the machine, all that stuff. The optometrist pulled me to the side and was like, I can't, there's no reason to make a prescription. He sees fine.
He got 20/20.
He sees fine. Leave, right? I said, "Corey, they said you don't need glasses, but I can't see that much. Can't see." So he would just, for about 2 weeks straight, just go back to school doing the same thing. Same thing. The teacher now is even more pressed. Like, I'm a horrible parent. Like, you ain't doing something about this kid. He needs to see because he's suffering in class, right? So I said, okay, again. Now, mind you, my son has sickle cell, right? So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's something that has to do, I don't know. I'm creating stuff.
Now you believe it.
I take him to the doctor. The doctor says, "Oh yeah, his levels are normal. He's good. He's straight." Let me just go back to the optometrist just to double check. Take him back. They say the same thing, y'all. Same thing. The optometrist was like, maybe the lowest grade prescription, like just for reading, but these would be like the same type of glasses you go get from CVS or something. He was like, it's not even a real prescription. I was like, we good, man. So that's that. Me and my girl at the time, Tatiana, we went on, matter of fact, I don't know, you could have been there at the time. The church had an outing at the movie theaters, right? Mm-hmm. And we all go to the movies. Me and Todd, like, this could be a little date night for us, My mom goes to the house and watches my son. We in the middle of the movie theater. My mom is texting, blowing me up. I'm like, "Mom, I'm in the movie. Why are you texting?" She says, "Corey can't see." I say, "Can't see?" I step out of the theater. I call Mom's. Mom's is like, "I think something wrong with him. He can't see." Like, I put his hands in front of him. He says all he sees is blackness. She's stressed the hell out. Right? Now, this is my mom who raised me, the mom who I would trust with y'all kids. You feel what I'm saying?
Grandbabies is different. We already on this.
Listen,
we know this.
I would trust my mama with y'all kids. You feel what I'm saying? So when she started to be concerning, I got concerned. Now I'm like, something's really wrong. My mom wouldn't play with this. You know what I'm saying? She, all of that. So I tell Todd, I'm like, you go home with somebody else. I'm on the freeway. We're doing 100. On the phone with the ER, like, I'm about to go pick my son up, go take him straight to the ER. We on the way. So I get to the house. He's asleep. I saw, "Mom, tell me what happened. What happened?" She says, "Man, he can't see. All he sees is dark." He said he can't see nothing. Zay, I don't know. I did this. I did that. My mom said she lit fire on a piece of paper and put it in front of him, and he didn't flinch. She said he didn't flinch. He said he didn't flinch. I was like, this is crazy. So now I'm bugged. So I wake him up. My bad. I wake him up. He gets up. I say, Corey, what can you see? He's like, no, it's doing the Stevie Wonder. No. I say, Corey, how many fingers am I holding up? I don't know, Dad. Corey, I don't know, Dad. So I'm like, okay. So I said, you know what? I gotta try one more thing before I embarrass myself at this doctor's office. So I go into the living room. He's in my bedroom. I go to the living room and I call him. I stand in the middle of the living room. Corey, come here. The kid walks directly in front of me. So I'm like, I said, how'd you know I was here? He said, because I heard you talking, and I know I heard you talking. I followed your voice. So in my head, I was living in a small apartment at the time, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, if the power went out, I would know how to get around the house too. You feel what I'm saying? If I couldn't see, I would know how to manage around the house too. So, okay, hold on. So I swear to God, what I'm telling you is the God's honest truth. I went to the kitchen and hid under the table, pulled all the chairs in tight. I'm under the table like I'm hot, like a thief is in the house. You feel me? Hiding. I say, Corey, come here. He comes exactly to where I'm at. I said, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I said, okay. So I said, Mom, I'll be right back. I'm livid, right? I go down the street to CVS. I pay $12 for them little glasses that be on the rack. I walk back in the house. I say, Corey, come on. Put these on. I put them on. Look at this little fucker did. He put the glasses on. He goes,
blinking and shit.
Blinking, look. I can see everything now. Listen, so I'm so mad because it's the lion, like you said, like the elaborate fabrication. You feel me? This wasn't I just knocked the vase over. I don't want to get a whooping, so I say I didn't do it. The dog did it. You created a plan. Like this, some Mission Impossible.
It's diabolical. It's diabolical.
Right? So
shit is evil. I just don't put it up there.
I'm mad. I'm like want to hit him, man. So I go in the living room to talk to my mom so I could calm down. I'm like, calm down. She's like, Isaiah, just calm down. You know, talk to him, figure out why did he feel the need to lie. Like she's being mom to me. Like, you know, figure it out. Let me show you. So I'm like, all right. I go in the room to go talk to him. This little boy, listen, he has a book open on his lap. Look, with the glasses, look. Look, finger on his chin. Like, oh my God. Like he reading now. I was so upset beyond measure. But all that to say is he went through a period of intentional, like you said, just lying, man, just lying about everything. I thought I was like, again, it go back to me. I was questioning me. What am I doing? Right. I'm not doing something right. I just got this lying kid.
Zay, real quick. I did the same damn thing.
Oh my!
No, you didn't.
I wasn't as elaborate as your son. I was not as elaborate, but I lied at the optometrist so I could get glasses.
That's crazy.
Real talk. I sure did.
That's crazy.
Cool. I thought glasses was cool.
That's window, Demarcus, remember the back window of my truck?
Oh, your back.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We lied. Me and Demarcus snuck and got some girls. Demarcus had his mother's Cadillac. He wasn't supposed to be driving it because she was out of town, and so we had my car and his car, but he was her Cadillac was in the garage. Sorry, Miss Montreal, if you seeing this. Me and DeMarcus driving, we like ghost riding, we stunned with the girls in the car. DeMarcus not paying attention, the light is red, hit the back of my car in his mama Cadillac, and bust the window out my car.
Ooh.
We're panicking, and it's the midday. So, you know, we usually in the summer, we were gone the whole day. We panicking. What we gonna do? What we gonna do? We say we had dates that night.
Yep,
No, we
went to the
didn't. We
movies.
said we should go to the movies with some girls.
Yeah.
We say somebody broke into my car.
Yeah,
We
somebody
that was
busted
our
back
lie
window. Yeah.
until we got in college in our 20s. I think I didn't tell my mama that. Until I got in college.
But you know what's crazy about that though? Again, we lie to avoid consequence.
Yes.
You feel me?
Yeah.
It's
There
like
was
you
no
said, it's
consequence.
diabolical.
There is
It's evil.
Yeah.
He
There's no
created
reason
a
to
lie.
Right. Yeah.
You're right.
He
You're
could
right.
have just asked me.
Because
Just
look, when
asked
I
me
was
for some glasses like it was a toy at the mall. Like, you know what I'm saying?
when I was
He
at the
went through a
doctor,
whole dramatic play.
I was intentionally making my vision blurry, so I could not see the letters because I wanted these glasses. And I see it backfired on me because we didn't have all the money in the world. So I got some thick ass glasses. So it didn't work out as well, but I still did it nonetheless.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
that's crazy.
Oh my God.
Okay.
All right, back to the question. What was the most challenging aspect of fatherhood? I'll talk about me. For me, to be honest, it was sharing Danielle. That was the
Yeah,
most.
I can imagine.
That's
I can
still to
imagine
me
that.
challenging sometimes because I swear to y'all, I swear to God, I'll never forget. Noah was a baby, and Danielle was breastfeeding him. I swear, Noah looked back at me, sucking on Danielle's breast. He winked at me. I was like, "You little mother." I was. Because Danielle would not when she's in her breastfeeding, it was always she was hurting. So she was like, don't touch my breast, don't touch my breast. So I couldn't touch. And Noah would come in. I felt like he was just like, he can't touch, but I can.
Yeah. You're looking at him like, it was mine first. I had it first.
So that was such a challenge for me to share Camille and Noah with Danielle. It was a huge
I can
challenge.
see that being a challenge. You know, I ain't never had that experience, but I'm looking at it from your lens.
Yeah.
I can see that being
I can see that long time before we were married. You know, before we were married years before we had kids. And then when Camille was born, we waited we specifically didn't want kids in daycare at the same time. After paying for daycare for Camille, we was like, we can't. We gotta wait 5 years to have the next child. And so both of them are Danielle's affectionate too. Noah is super affectionate. Noah's a mama's boy. So he's like a both. But yeah, so that was the biggest challenge for me to just share my wife with my kids. That's still a challenge to this day, really.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine it.
I didn't have that. I didn't have that issue because I'm just so laissez-faire about a lot of things. So it didn't bother me.
How old is your child? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. How old is your child?
He's going on 3.
3, okay.
Month. Yeah. Okay. So he's going on 3 next month. So yeah, he requires a lot of time of mom right now, which is a benefit for me because he pays me no attention unless he really wants to. That's okay because to the point of the question, one of the hardest things for me is reclaiming time to actually get stuff done. That is really the only thing that I'm struggling with is that because we all get tired. I'm tired. I'm working from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. to come home. I got a garden in the back, got grass to cut. Like I said, I'm the resident chef. You know, gotta play with my kid, gotta love up on my wife. It's like you there is not enough of you. And this goes for men and women. This is why it's important to understand that whole idea, like I said before, the whole there's a whole nother topic, a whole nother show about doing this alone.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand.
Yeah.
And like once you win it, you like there's one of me and a billion things to do. And depending on the level of importance of those things, you get what you can get done, and the rest of the stuff just kind of falls to the wayside. And that's kind of the attitude I've taken, just to not drive myself crazy. But yeah, it's the hardest
I love
part
that
for me is
age of
claiming
your
time.
son, though. That's my favorite age.
It's fun.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That birth to about 4-ish to max 5 is my best. That's my favorite. If I
My
yeah.
my son is he's almost 3 in the body, but he's 20 in the mouth. So he'll set you straight. He
Yeah.
caught me one day, not to go. I just to go off topic real quick.
No, go
He
ahead.
caught
Go
me
ahead.
one
This
day.
is
I threw
conversation.
some gum out the window, and he from the back seat. He said, "Daddy, did you just throw that out the window?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "You're not. You know better, Daddy. You're not supposed to throw stuff out the window." And I'm like, "Now where the hell did he learn this shit from?"
He said you know better. He said you know better.
He said, "You know better, Daddy." He get Grammy straight, he get Mama straight, he get Daddy straight. He'll tell you straight up, and he will repeat what you said to him. He repeat exactly what you said.
That's what I'm talking about.
So
He's
yeah,
look, he's messing up the earth. He said, even though gum
Mhm.
biodegradable sometimes. I
yeah.
don't know.
I said, "Well, son, I was just throwing it into the drain. It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
Not
kids.
supposed to throw things out the window." I couldn't argue. He was right. I could
Yeah,
not
yeah,
argue. I
yeah.
just apologized and said, "You know what? You're right, son. I won't do it again."
No, kids will really get you straight. Not to even stay on the topic a little bit. Like Noah is the one. Like when we get ready to go to bed at night, he'd be like, "Are we not gonna read our Bible? Are we not gonna pray?" I'd be like, "Oh, okay." And I'll be tired. You know, this is the whole day. I am
Yeah.
exhausted.
I mean, I was gonna let it slide this day, but I mean, since you want to call me on it,
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey,
he
you
even
gotta
like,
go
hey,
do it.
what you know, what you cooking? Are you gonna make a vegetable? Like what? I'd be like, oh my god. Now I will say I hate being a short order cook for my kids. They make you
Uh,
they think this life is Waffle House for them because they just, hey, I would like this today. I was straight. My mom was like, what I make, you're going to eat.
Yeah.
And like I
yeah,
tell
same
you, we're
yeah.
suburban we're hood parents raising suburban kids.
that part.
Yeah,
That's true.
It's partially like that here. Like I'm really staunch on. I ain't cooking a bunch of meals. So
I'm
if you don't eat, you go to bed hungry. I wake up, I love you.
yeah.
Jay,
And you ain't
Jay
gonna
got
You're
a
gonna be
snack my
bachelor
hungry.
ass
dad.
to death. I'm not. You got to snack my ass to death. We got
Nope.
food in there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Hmm.
Jay got a bachelor dad, so we wake up in the morning. Hey man, wait, where we going? We're going to IHOP. We're going to eat some Outback. You know, hey, we till we get a woman in this house, we gonna eat whatever we want.
Hold on. How is Jay? How is Jay eating though? Is Jay like every 20 minutes?
Jay'll eat. Give him a 30 count chicken,
God
Chick-fil-A
damn.
chicken
Sounds about right.
nugget,
Yeah, sound about right.
and
Sounds about right.
some snacks, and that's all he need for the rest of the day. That's it.
No, see, Noah.
Yeah.
I don't know what bottomless pit my son has in his soul. It's 20, 30 minutes, and he could eat a full meal. Like before I came, I made salmon, some coconut rice, some vegetables. He will eat that in a plate. Say, can I have some more? 20, 30 minutes later, can I have a snack? I'm like,
Mhm.
we just ate. It ain't been an hour. But
Yep.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
hungry again. I'm like, you're not hungry, you bored. Drink some water. He'll drink water. He'll drink one of these and be like, all right.
I think they really be hungry because Jay literally eat like sun up to sundown. Like
Yeah,
he
that's
literally is
about that
eating.
age. That's that
Yeah.
growing age. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all like you need I'm determined, like, at first I was like, you can be the artsy, you can, play an instrument. No, I need you to NFL, NBA, MLB's aspirations. Because you're not
Just to afford your food bill.
yes,
Yeah, right,
food
right.
alone. Like you need a scholarship because I can't afford for you to go to college and just be like on a meal plan. You need meal plans, not one.
There's
Yeah.
an
Right.
old saying it's that I'd rather clothe you than feed you.
Oh my goodness. That's real.
Yeah, it'd be easier.
It's an old saying.
That'd be hard too, though. The way they outgrow stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Anybody else like? What's the most challenging aspect of fatherhood? I want all y'all to chime in on this one.
I think for me it was when we separated. My
Mm.
ex-wife and I separated, and not being there every day, hugging,
Every
giving her
moment.
baths,
Mm.
sitting down with books, and me trying to cornrow her hair and
Mm.
walking away, just like you go see, and then you like, damn, this is killing me to walk away right now. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to be strong. And then it's like, Daddy, when you coming back to see me? It's like,
Yeah.
it just breaks
Yep.
it breaks you down. And for me, that was very, very hard. It's like, okay, James, we gotta go, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll follow you all over there, kind of. But for me, that was very challenging. And the fact that when she became a teenager, allowing her to try to learn stuff on her own. And I tried to give her as much space as possible and expose her to so many different things, especially as a young black woman, who probably is going to date a young black man, and how to conduct yourself accordingly, especially in the eyes of the law. Um, that was very challenging for me. And we had a policy that no matter what happened, if you were out and you said, Dad, I need you to come get me, it was no questions asked. It just that was it. That was it. So if you was ever vibing and something didn't feel right, and just it only happened one time. And I said, we'll talk about it when you feel like it. I said, but we honored the policy. So you see that it works. I didn't ask you any questions. And so it was building that trust. But it was like you want to get in there, like, yo, what actually happened? Do I have to go see this person, or, you know, anything. So, but it's, letting her like make her own, watching her fall, if you will,
Yeah.
was kind of,
Yeah.
That's a
kind
good
of,
one. That's a good
kind
one.
of,
Yeah, that's a good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
All right. So the next question I asked, and y'all, and if anybody needs to fall off, feel free. I know we're going long, but we having a good conversation, so I
Yeah,
want to.
yeah.
I don't want to put a time restriction on it because I don't care. But if anybody needs to leave, feel free. Um, so, what is one thing you wish you had known before becoming a father?
Mm.
Hmm.
I think it all goes back to, I think, so some variation. Me, James, and Demarcus have all said in some form, but uh, how important being there in the family mode is.
Yeah.
Um, I think if I would have known that, I didn't have that, so I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, so if I would have known how important a mother is in the household. I mean, I knew how in the family dynamic. I knew how much my mother was to me,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of having children and things like that in the household, um, you know, I probably would have moved differently, even if it was choosing different or being more cautious with the women I date and how I, you
Mm-hmm.
know, give my seed to and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think now looking back at it, that's something that I definitely feel like knowing or being more aware of would have helped me, in the beginning. Even in choosing a stepmom, you know what I'm saying? Even if it was in the sense of choosing a stepmom, you just having somebody in that role, you know what I mean, in that position in the household and what it means, what it does for you as a man, having the right woman around helps you become a better man, which ultimately helps you become a better father
Yeah.
in aspect. So I think that was probably something for me.
Yeah. Everybody else?
Yeah, no, I gotta agree. You know, with knowing, well, actually, yeah, just having things set up ahead of time. Yeah, like getting married prior to having a child. I mean, that in my mind, that would have helped out a lot. But I mean, hindsight, things happen the way it was supposed to. And I mean, yeah, the pain from whatever that was, it grew me into the person that I am today. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, although that was probably the toughest thing. I mean, it was also, man, probably the most impactful thing too. So
Yeah, make you change. Yeah.
yeah.
For me, I think one of the things I wish I had known for becoming a father is, um, and I do this now, but at first, it's just kind of, I don't know, just going to the beat of my own drum and listen to people. You can give all the advice you want. I listened to a lot of advice and read a lot of books, but nothing prepared me for like really being a father.
Yeah.
Especially and financially, like I said, for me, we were very good financially. That was one thing we did establish for ourselves. But we, like I said, we stayed in Cali. Cali was super expensive, but we were like, we're good. I wish I would have done things differently as far as like work and stuff, like staying still. Like I didn't get to like my 30s, and I was like, okay, benefits. What's the benefit? I wasn't looking at benefits in my 20s.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Really
yeah.
intentional in thinking of things,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
every thought once I got a child was how to be family oriented. Even now, I'm very how to be family oriented. Do things. I sacrifice a lot for myself for the family, and so
Mhm.
that's one thing I would do. Another thing I would tell y'all, and this for all y'all, I would tell y'all that I do a lot, and I told this to my frat brother, self care. I'm big on my self care. That is one thing I don't do a lot, but I go get pedicures. I go on man dates. Like I'm flat out, hey, I'm going to the movies by myself. Nobody's going with me. I'm going to eat nachos. I'm going to get popcorn. I'm going to take myself to dinner. So self care is a big thing. Just sitting back. I ain't got to take no drug test. Sitting back, getting me some edibles, relaxing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
about
yeah.
here. I am about because I've watched people stress. We got hypertension, diabetes. We got all these things because of stress just going on, and so I'm big on my self care. So
Mhm.
if you're for all of you, if you don't take time for your self care, take time. An hour. Look, it's 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. Taking yourself on whatever it is for a couple hours is not going to hurt your family. It's not. It's worth it because you're preserving your mental health. You're preserving your physical health. You're preserving your emotional health. So do it. Take it if you can.
I think
Hmm.
for me, one of the biggest things, and I commend all of you brothers for your input. I think one of the biggest things for me is that I never asked myself, before having fun, not using protection,
Mm,
what if, and are we equally yoked? You
Yeah.
mm,
know, can we spend the rest of our lives together?
Yep. Yep.
I never wanted to be divorced. Never, ever in my life wanted to be divorced. Um, that was very, I preach that to my nephew right now. He's young like you brothers, and I tell him all the time, look at your dad's example. Your dad was married, still is married, 37 years. You have three other siblings. Your dad came home every single night because he made a very smart choice that this is the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with, and y'all came afterwards.
Mhm.
mm, mm,
Okay. So the other thing that I try to tell him is that you can find somebody that may be equally yoked mentally and spiritually, but there's a very important component to financially.
mm,
And men, like you said, Zay, we like to be providers, leaders, and protectors. Most important thing is we like to provide. The final decision is not ours because we are providers, but a woman will look at you completely different when you can't put stuff on the table
mm,
or you don't have a plan to put stuff on the table. Like, listen, what are we doing here? What does our future look like? We don't ask a lot of questions,
Hmm.
and we should. Um, like I was saying earlier, my dad died when I was 10, and my uncles they gave me some great examples until death did you part. But there was some tools that I didn't have
mm,
um, about are we equally yoked financially? Where are we? What can we do with ourselves in the future? Hey, how were you raised? Did you have your mother and your father, together in the house?
Yeah.
Were
Yeah,
you
Yep.
yeah.
were you abused? You
Yep.
know, just a lot of questions that we do not ask.
Absolutely.
That we should, and then we find out down the road. And unfortunately, we don't share this information with each other.
Family history is important. Conversations, communication, like talk about these things. I feel like even what you said, what happens is I think sometimes, to just put it blunt, sex be good, sex be great, but it start clouding your
Oh, without
judgment.
question. Without
Oh,
question.
yeah.
I mean, you're not. Yeah,
Real talk.
yeah. No disagreement there.
I
I
used to
said this
tell
to
the
one of my
kids,
cousins.
my
I,
story always to kids is about the story of Samson. Samson told Delilah his secrets. Now, in the Bible, are they married? They're not married. But he told her that secret. Why? Because that ass was good.
Yeah.
Tell me
I'd have told.
Samson's
They
secret.
Yeah,
say,
I'd have told
man,
some
look.
secrets. I'd have told some of y'all secrets and then with the right method. But yeah.
Yeah. So he told his secret. So it clouds your judgment. Like, no,
Go ahead and fight
why,
that
why
I
are
out.
you
heard,
so
I heard,
strong, Samson? Oh,
I
Go
heard
girl.
ahead and
brother
fight
Nuri
that
Muhammad. I heard brother Nuri Muhammad. I don't know if y'all familiar with him, but he used the analogy. He was like, once you start having sex, them emotions start going high, but that logic start going low. You know
Logic
what I
goes
mean? He like when
down.
that
Yep.
emotion is high, that logic is low. So,
Yeah.
it make it
And you
hard to
said
make.
something. You said something, Elton, but you said it too, James. And if I was thinking, I would have said this in it as well. But like I told you, my son has sickle cell. And
Mhm.
so people not asking the right questions, like you said, what's your family history? What kind of background is you? Me and his mother have the sickle cell trait. We didn't
Mhm.
find out. I didn't know I had it. She didn't know she had it until maybe about 30 days before she was due.
Mm.
And 30 days before she was due, and the doctor started asking random questions. And we was like, we don't know. And they was like, okay, well, let's test you for it. And we got tested for the traits. They was like, both y'all have the trait, which means there's a 75% chance that this kid might have the disease.
Yep.
Mm.
And we're not prepared. You're due in a month or so, and we're not prepared just in case there's complications. We need to cut you open now or
Mm.
next week and bop 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 bop. And he did. And then in the beginning stages, we had to go through that and the experiences of dealing with a child who's on medication in the beginning and having pain
Yes.
crisis and all of these things simply because we don't ask questions. Now,
Yeah.
hey, what's your mama? Did she ever get the flu?
Let me-
Did like
Yeah.
what's that mole on your mama neck mean? Like I'm asking
Yeah.
everything. But we laugh at it,
No, straight up.
but dead ass. You know what I'm saying? Because
and there's nothing wrong with it.
nothing wrong with
Yeah,
it.
like
What's your family
there's nothing wrong
history?
with asking those questions. I think
Yeah,
when we were
yeah.
younger, you didn't. It was kind of uncomfortable conversations and stuff. But
I
now,
didn't know. It's not even uncomfortable for
we're
me.
not
I just didn't
educated.
know.
That was
Yeah.
That's
really
what I'm saying.
We
That's what
didn't
I'm
have
saying.
the authority to really have those conversations
Yeah,
during that time because I know
absolutely.
what me and my wife been together for 24 years, but
Wow.
throughout that time, like I guess to a certain degree we didn't have to have the conversations because I was in her family, so I could see certain things.
Hmm.
But it wasn't like we ever had an active conversation about certain things. Like I was aware of them. Was aware of my family history. So was she because we'd been together for so long before we had our son. But yeah, that I think that's one of those things that like as we're evolving, we get to like to your point. We didn't have the language nor the authority to speak about it, but nowadays, like that's how we're passing it on to the younger ones. Like, nah, you need to talk about this because this is important.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation. My son is an individual with the actual disease. A conversation he's going to have with women he dates. That may be a deal breaker. Like, oh, if he acts the disease and somebody has the trait, oh, I don't want I don't want that because that increases the chance of our child. Bop, 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 bop. You know, he's able to go into it, and then even that woman, she's able to make a decision for herself. Like, you know, if I want to risk having a child, you know, with someone who has this and things like that. So I would have added that. I'm glad you said that. I for sure would have added that to my list. Now.
Can y'all? Oh my God! I'm sorry. Excuse me. I put the camera on.
There you go. I'm gonna mute you. You're good.
I was trying to ignore it, but it was like,
Elton ain't gonna let it slide, though. He gonna just say something. He could have cut that part out or something.
It's alive. I oh my goodness.
We all men though, so it don't matter.
I'm sorry about that, man.
No, you're okay, James. I know the situation, so you good.
Yeah.
Let me see. So let me go to. Let me see for us. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, so how do you approach conversations about difficult topics with your children?
I'm out on this one. Mine is almost 3, so I don't have to.
Hey. Is you gonna eat this peach? Is you gonna eat this peach or this apple slices? Which one? Because
Don't worry about that one yet.
I tell my
ahead,
daughter that there's nothing that's off limits.
Yeah.
Anything that you, first of all, we talked about people or children telling tales. One thing that I could really be proud of is that my ex-wife and I, we both agree that Courtney she doesn't lie. She'd rather get in trouble. Did you eat these cookies? I did. Why? I was hungry. She told the truth. Okay, now what do we do with this? Okay, we told you don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, but she's like, yeah.
Good.
And she was like that from the time she was a little kid. She never basically lied. Never. And till this day, I will ask her certain questions. And she said, Dad, if you really don't want to know, don't ask me. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. And then I also tell her that sometimes I'm going to tell you things without you asking me. That's just the father in me to make sure that you have at least heard this before. Or my dad said that, or my dad said this. And there's no topics that are off subject. Dad, tell me about you and my new mother-in-law. Tell me about, what did it feel like when you went to the hospital because you had prostate cancer? Tell me, about your credit, your finances. There's nothing that is really off topic, because if she's asking, especially as an adult, she has curiosity and she wants what I feel will be an absolute reliable source of information and not try to BS her and tell her something that somebody else might.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like that. I think having to just communicating with your kids about things, about everything is real. Like, one thing I would say for me, like me and Danielle, we don't argue in front of the kids. We don't really argue that much. When we get some disagreement, the kids be like, "Stop fighting." We be like, "We not fighting." Like, and it's literally me and Danielle can be like, I think Luther Vandross is a better singer and we'll get into a debate. And they're like, y'all stop arguing. Like, it's not a real argument. We're talking about. And so we'll talk to them about, just me and mom doing this, me and mom doing that. Everything is on the table, like you say, for them to have a conversation with us about. My daughter now is going through that stage where she's learning about friends and, your friends may not be your friends a few years from now, your feelings, but I feel like we have to validate. I remember I was teaching a youth class and one of the kids was saying they were older, like high school kids. They were saying, they in love. And one of the older men was like, y'all don't know what love is. And I was like, you can't invalidate these kids' feelings for them. they feel like they in love. Like you can't tell them, no, you don't know what love really is. Their feelings are very valid, and so I'm very conscious of that with her trying to, make sure she I like, and I like this boy, and she told me, and she don't be telling me, she'll tell Danielle, but she finally told me that she had this boy at school she liked, and she told him she liked him, and he basically expressed that he really don't feel the same. She was heartbroken. Let's have a conversation about that. Let's talk about that. It's gonna happen. I've gotten rejected a few times. I get rejected when your mama tired. I get rejected all the time. So let's talk about this. But no, it's just I like that. Just being open and honest off the table. I'm probably not gonna have too many, deep things because she's fickle. She's not gonna have deep, but as she get older, like you said, like you're older now, having these conversations with her and letting her know it is an open door policy. I don't want it to be a barrier of communication, basically, with her. I don't want her to think I can't tell you anything. Because that's why now I have to watch my reactions for things because it'll shut it down. If I get angry, she'll never tell me that stuff again. She ain't never gonna talk to me. So yeah, I want to make sure I'm very conscious about that. That's how I approach difficulty.
I think for me, I tried not to introduce difficult conversations to my son initially. I tried to let him be as innocent as long as he possibly can. You know what I mean? And then this was just my way of doing it, and it was just like
I want to hear your perspective on too. Is you're raising an 18-year-old black man in society? I know that is one of the scariest things as a father.
Yeah, for sure. You have no idea, especially for me and my background. Like it's just, but yeah, I try not to introduce it to him because I don't want him to familiarize himself with it because I'm bringing it to him. Like, I feel like as a parent, we know certain things before they even know it themselves. You know what I mean? One, just because we know them better than they know themselves at this time, and then two, we've already been where they've been. So I would start to see like certain things in him, and I'd be like, oh, it's time to have this conversation. You know what I'm saying? He was on the phone all day with his girl, all night with his girl. I'm like, oh, here it comes. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So then I'm like, hey, I heard you on the phone with your little girlfriend, and oh, you like her? Okay, where'd you meet her? Like, and what do you guys do when you hang out? Like, then because I'm starting to see his engagement with girls or his engagement with friends and certain things I'm seeing. Then once I see it, then I introduce it. Then I kind of like, let's have a conversation about it. Then, I make him, I at least explain to him that he can feel comfortable, coming to me with it. But now, as you said, like, one of my biggest fears again it's not many, but one of them is my son paying for my sins. You know what I'm saying?
That's deep.
My son paying for my sins, or, I still live in and frequent like the area that I grew up in, the neighborhoods, the streets that I ran and things like that. And he, goes to schools in these neighborhoods and things of that nature. Now he wanted to for up until his sophomore year of high school. He was in school outside of the district. I put him in private schools. He went to school, was very, college prep and diverse, group of people, and, went to school with like celebrity kids, and he was in that, but he was like, Dad, I want to go to school with my people. Like, I just need to be around my folk. Like, so I was like, all right, I'll let him go to the school where he's at now. But, there's people that he experienced, that he come across, people that say, hey, some people said they knew you, Dad, or people who knew like I was your son, and I met him at places, and I'm like, who? And he was like, I don't know who it was though. I said, you didn't get their name? Like, he's just unaware of certain things. I'm like, then don't talk to people that you don't know, because I don't know who they are. I don't know
Yeah.
you know, what kind of type of time they're on, or his obliviousness. Like if he'll catch the bus to school and wearing a certain color, and it's like, why would you wear that? Walking to the bus stop.
But yeah.
Why would you do that? You know, and he's like, man, I'm not in it ain't I don't do anything. I'm just a regular guy. I don't do that stuff. And it's like, they don't know that though, son.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know that. Or when I go to his school and there's people see me, like I said, it's kids and I know him and their parents. I know some of their parents and things of that nature. And he'll come home and be like, oh, Dad, my friend said his dad knows you or his mom knows you and this and that. And they said like this. And so it's very scary for me. Like I said, you know, and as he starts to develop some things naturally, some ways that I had, you know what I mean? And they're not all negative like that, because I have a great kid. Let me just put that out there. He's a great kid outside of the teenage stuff that probably every teenager goes through, you know. Good kid though, but you know, whether it's the attitude or the sarcasm or the short temper, like I see it, and trying to have that conversation with him about how it can impact him if he don't reel it in, if you don't really think before you act, think before you talk, you know, focus on the things that matter and don't put a lot of attention on things that don't matter, because, you know, and you know, like I told you guys earlier, I was raised off survival, so I figured those things out
Yeah.
in real world time.
Yeah.
And with real consequences and stuff like that. And my kid, like you said, they're privileged children raised by parents who grew up in the hood, like, you know what I'm saying? And so, but they don't understand those things. So it is a little scary, you know what I'm saying? So I try, when I see something that could be a problem, that's when I attack it. And that's when I say it's time to have this talk. It's time to do this. It's time to introduce him to this. It's trying to introduce him to this conversation and things of that nature. Once I start seeing like, okay, he about to mess up, I can see this. Like I said, I'll see him getting dressed for school, and I was like, oh, I have to have this conversation, but I have to have the colors conversation with him.
They're very unaware.
Yeah. You know, my son, his head is in the phone, in his head down in the phone. We at the grocery store. He walking into the chip aisle. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody could be walking towards him with a knife in his hand. He wouldn't know, because you know what I'm saying? I've had friends call me, swear to the true story, call me like, hey, where your son at? And I'm like, oh, he's such and such, does he have on a such and such? I'm like, yeah, why? He said, I just seen him walking over here on this side, and I was trying to hunk at him to get his attention, and he not even paying attention. Yeah. He just got his head in the phone. I could have just walked up to him and just ran, you know, they're telling me this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's just unaware of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? In an environment where you should be aware, even if it ain't just for crime. It's just like, man, you may have stepped in a pile of shit. You feel what I'm saying? You don't even know. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know you about to walk into the stop sign, like, you know, because you just, you know, oblivious. So, you know, that's just kind of where I'm at with him at this stage.
Being like a young black boy, like the whole the aspect of like racial issues too, like raising him.
I had to get him comfortable with that too, because again, like I said, his whole life from birth, from pre-K to literally his end of his 9th grade year, he's been in diverse environments. He's been in sheltered environments, very well, you know, good school systems, you know, private schools and environments that, you know, he didn't experience that. You know what I mean? And so, you know, when I took him out of it and let him go to public school, you know, he started to see it for himself. Even if it wasn't just him, like he would tell me stories about his friends, like, oh, this happened to one of my classmates, and you know, or we were after school, we were walking to Burger King to get something to eat, and you know, the police, you know, had, you know, asked us where we were going, and my son is so like, Oh yeah, we're just going to he's just so forthcoming because he think the police is here to protect and serve. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to tell him like the way he dresses, the way he thinks. I'm like, they don't look at you like that. You know what I'm saying? I think he gets it now. He's starting to get it now. Understanding like how you present yourself. It just trying to minimize the interaction with the police because they're killing people. He's more conscious now when he hears things on the news about the police killing people and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, that could be you, bro.
And they look just like me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I'm telling him, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That could be you, bro. I tell him these things, and he's again, it's gonna be a slow process,
Yeah.
but all we can do is just, like the Bible says, train up a child, and hopefully when they get old, then they won't depart from it. They'll understand it a little bit better as they get older, and they'll remember like, oh, this is what dad meant. I get it
Mhm.
now, like because life has guided them through that journey of knowing this is what it means. Because we could tell our children everything. It's just some stuff they're gonna have to feel it for themselves. It don't matter how much we tell it. We can write it in a PowerPoint. You know what I'm saying? We could get a whiteboard and draw diagrams, and and they just still have to experience it for themselves.
There's a I don't know if it's an old Jamaican proverb or what it is. I heard it from a Jamaican, but it's the saying is those who don't listen feel.
Mm, I
Mhm.
like that. I'm gonna use that.
If you don't listen, you're going to feel it.
You get the feeling.
Yep.
You're going to feel it. You better listen now.
Mm,
I'm
Yeah,
sure there's more to that, but that alone right there is
it's
yeah,
powerful.
that's
I
powerful.
mean in my entire life and even with my son, like I wasn't raised being taught about race, or it wasn't an emphasis or anything like that. We had the roots, we had history, we had everything that we needed. But my general feeling was just don't interact with the police.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's like I've been pulled over multiple times. It's like if I have to interact with you, it's power of authority. I'm just a civilian. But as a 42-year-old man who reads the Constitution front and back, I know my rights. So that's something that I plan to impart on my son and have that conversation, because those are always going to be difficult conversations,
Hmm.
dealing with authority in general, and
Absolutely.
how to work around that effectively. Because one of the things that I do feel that we have to be very mindful of is we carry very powerful emotions,
Yeah.
especially when you learn certain things about the history of Black folks in America.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of power behind that. But being the master of it is extremely important for our sons to get that point. So, that's always a conversation that we should be having at the appropriate times with our sons, with our daughters. Hell, even with some of the old heads that just that ain't got it yet.
Yeah, it's true.
That's an excellent point when you say being the master of your emotions, because sometimes we can very quickly ramp up from 0 to 15,
Hmm.
especially depending on like where you're from, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I'm pretty sure, we've had situations like we've witnessed, but like, that went south real fast. I'm glad it
Real
wasn't me.
fast. Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't me because it could have played out totally different if only they just took, like you said, they just take a second to stop and just think.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes these people, they don't master their emotions. They don't
Hmm.
stop. They don't think. I didn't always do it myself. But
Hmm.
these are some of the things that I try to tell my daughter because my daughter's a bit of a hothead. And she is very smart and she thinks that she can reason with a lot of things. And I keep trying to tell her, even today, some things have no logic. You can't explain them. People do what they do, and you expect an outcome that you're not going to get. And she's starting to see that now. She's like, I don't know why people do things, a certain way. And I'm like, because you can't figure them out. You can only just say, you know what? I'm ghost. I'm out. I don't want to be part of what you're going through. I don't like the temperature. I don't like the vibe. You know, If I stick around, there's a possibility that I may get in trouble, or it's going to
Yeah.
affect
Yep.
me, affect my vibe, make my mood bad,
Mm-hmm.
and it shouldn't be like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm.
also have to tell her that when you were a kid, did you ever see me hit your mom? Did you ever see me raise my hands? You may have heard me yell a couple of times. I said, but one of the things that you have to deal with is that when people get angry, they lose control. But at no point in time is any of that okay. None of it's
Right.
okay.
Right.
You can get angry and you can do everything that you want. Uh, take a walk. Take a walk. And part of your role as a woman is to also to help de-escalate that man. I said, especially if you see an interaction with the police and like, yo, why you stopping me? You know, or I don't have to put my window down and this and that. As replay scenarios. My goal is to make sure that you come home safe and that
Mm-hmm.
whoever you're going out with, is safe on your behalf. You mouthing off may get somebody else in trouble.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
It's one of those things where when I started to actually carry, my wife was terrified, and she was terrified. It's like, well, what happens if you get pulled over? What I wasn't worried about it, but I had to reassure her. Just like, look, the vast majority of people that are carrying are not getting pulled over and shot by the police. It's like that's not what's happening. It's like,
Yeah.
but I'm the master of my emotions. When a cop pulls me over, I know what Michigan law is. I must let him know that I have a firearm, provide him my license, my card, my insurance, and that man moves about his day unless he wants to be an asshole. But I've been pulled over 3 times, at least where I'm at in my city. Pulled over 3 times, carrying every single time. I followed what the law was
Right back. Hold
and
on.
was blessed enough to walk away from each situation. Now, I know that's not the same for everybody. It's like,
Right.
but
Right.
at the end of the day, there must be a base point of understanding of how we deal with authorities,
Yeah.
regardless of whether they're assholes or not. There just has to be a
Absolutely.
base point.
Yeah. And I think that base point is a mixture of everything you just said. It's a mixture of knowledge, knowing your rights, knowing what you can do, and just human decency.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the regulating your emotions, being able to regulate your emotion. Like as upset as I may feel, you know what I'm saying? And even me, I work in a clinical setting as a clinician, and you know, you know, I facilitate anger management groups, and I be trying to tell people it's okay to feel. You can feel
Right. Right.
exactly the way you want to feel. It's nothing wrong with being angry. It's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with being feeling like
exactly.
you want to
They're
tear some
valid
shit up.
feelings.
Just don't tear
Exactly.
shit up. Yeah, you
Right.
know what
Just
I'm
don't
saying?
tear
It's,
it up.
Just
it's
don't
what
tear it
you
up. You can
do.
feel like you want to
Right.
tear it
Yeah.
up. That's okay.
Yeah.
And so and knowing when it's appropriate and when it might not be in your best interest to do that. And again, for me, the fear raising a black 18 almost 18-year-old man is teaching him those things because it starts in the home.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I told my son, I said, man, sometimes he get in his feelings and he get in his bag, he start feeling and sniffing himself. And I'm like, nobody ever talk to me outside. Nobody will talk to me like that. And you taking advantage of my unconditional love for you. You my child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like John Gotti. Like John Gotti, nobody probably talks to John Gotti the way his. You know what I'm saying? You allow it because that's your child. But I'm like on the outside, nobody will talk to me like that.
Yeah.
But if you're not scared of me, or and not even I don't want to use the word scared, but
Respectful.
if you can't regulate exactly, if you can't respect and regulate those feelings here with the most important person to you,
What you gonna do?
who's the person on the street? They're nothing to you. The
Yep.
police don't have a relation. You don't have a relationship with them. They have no authority over you as an individual. They have an authority over to regulate the law. But if you feel like you can press that line with me, you're gonna get out there and think you could do it. and they don't love you.
They don't have that unconditional love for you.
Yeah, they don't love you.
No,
You
for
know what
sure.
I'm saying?
It's
So
something that, like, of course, like I said, I got a 3-year-old, but these are things that I conceptualize in my head down the road. Think
absolutely,
about,
absolutely,
like, I
absolutely,
place them in certain boxes because I know I'm gonna have these conversations.
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
it's one of those things, like, where to your point, like, I think it was Dr. Jordan Peterson I was listening to, and he said with men, there's always a low level of violence that we share as men. So we don't talk to each other sideways
Hmm.
because we don't know who is the one that might just knock our
There
block
you
off
go. That's
Yeah.
street.
and
That's
not really
street
care
shit.
much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. We
Yeah.
all share
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
trying to teach our kids that is like, look, I get that you think you know that hitting is wrong. Some folks out here don't give a damn.
Hmm.
So treat everybody with respect. Don't go off sideways and just mouth it off, because everybody don't share that
They
same
don't.
calmness.
Nope.
And you
Nope.
do not want to meet that wrong one. That's
Nope.
how I've always took it.
Yeah.
And it's worked out pretty good.
And
Yeah.
everybody don't have the love. Like everybody on this call, I can hear they're there for their children, has been there for their children, are continually there for their children, currently there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't have the support and love that you have.
Right.
So when they out there acting a fool and you thinking you're operating from a place of love
Yep.
and support and privilege. You feel me? That kid
Yep.
that you talking to, mama's on drugs, daddy in jail, you feel what I'm saying? Feels like nobody loves him.
Yeah.
So he ain't got nothing to lose. He don't, you know what I'm saying? So you gonna pop off to that person and you're gonna get a rude awakening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get a
Yep.
rude awakening because this is the world I've given you is not really what the world is.
You're very much in a bubble.
Yeah.
You're in a bubble. Yeah. You're in a
I've
bubble.
created, this is Sims. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a simulated environment.
I've created a stability for you that you don't understand is
Yeah.
outside these walls.
Yeah. I've created your utopia. I've created a world for you. You know what I'm saying? This is not the real
That's
one.
good. It's a utopia that you have.
Yeah.
Look, like when the birds have to fly from the nest, it's a rude awakening. And I know this because I have, like, real world, I have robins that nest in my security lights every year.
Mhm.
And every year I watch the baby birds fly from the nest. Every year I know there's cats in the neighborhood. Every year I know it's raccoons hiding in bushes. I'm like, you should have stayed up there in that nest.
Yeah.
a little
It's
longer.
good there.
Like,
It's
I
good
don't think
there.
you know what's out here, because I'm not the type that's just going.
That nest got you feeling like you can go outside and live. You feel me?
Right.
The comfort.
Flip side of that, you don't leave that nest, you won't learn to fly.
But there comes a time, like I feel like I'm
Yeah.
there now. There comes a times, if you think about some of them birds, I don't know if it's a robin, but some push them out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You feel what I'm saying? It's
They
when
can't
they
fit anymore.
Comfortable.
yeah.
They're
Yeah,
Some
they can't fit
comfortable.
anymore now.
some just get zealous, a little bit overzealous, and want to look over the nest and see what's out there. Them the ones that, like you said, the cat and the raccoon is. But then there comes a time where the mom knows, like, all right,
You gotta go.
ready or not,
Mm-hmm.
you feel what I'm saying? You gotta go. You know what I'm saying?
I sit out and I watch them, and I just think about that, like, comparing it to how we do our kids, and like you said, this, you safe right here, but this is a compressed world that you living in that I've created for you to the best of my ability.
Yep.
But the outside world is so much more vast. There's so much more moving. It's going so fast. There's so many different thinking people. Like you got to have them basics down.
Yeah.
To be just to be civil, right? Sometimes people are just
like you said, just to be
they're
civil.
just crazy. Sometimes people just crazy just to be crazy. But in general, just to be civil, like, you got to have them basics down before you get out into the real world. And I mean, looking back at how I was raised, I had a really good base plate, I had really good understanding. a really good conceptual knowledge about how things work. So I was able to operate effectively. But to your point, Zay, everybody don't have that.
Yeah.
So me as an older man, I'm looking back now and I'm like, I gotta offer some of these kids grace, because some of these kids, if I'm speaking frank, they came up from really fucked up situations.
Big time. Big time. Big time.
And so I
I
gotta
used
offer grace
to
and understanding.
I used to work as a psych nurse, and people will be on their last nerve, and you would never know it. They would just be sitting quiet, and you say, "Okay, I know he's going through something." And so you go place yourself in the room, not the room, like the day area with them, and just sit there and just let them know at some point, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I used to do that with the brothers all the time because I've seen these angry brothers come in because the system has treated them bad. They didn't have mommy, daddy, they
Yep.
didn't have food, they grew up in group homes. Nobody was really there for them. So when I feel like that vibe or that presence, or when I do like a intake assessment or something like that, I try to realize what are this person's buttons that going to get pushed that's going to cause a cold. And he's going to probably break 2 or 3 nurses' jaws,
Yep.
to
Yeah.
be perfectly honest with you, and try to figure out a way where I can very quickly establish rapport and try to talk about what we're talking about. You know, uh, you may not have, but there are people that are willing to work with you if you don't push them away.
Yeah.
Okay. So that person may be on edge. It may be their last straw. All you had to do was just blow your horn at them, and now they coming out the car with a
Yeah.
baseball bat
Right.
because the world has treated them so badly, or whatever the case may be. But
Like that one movie. What's that one movie back in the day? I was a kid when it came out with Michael
Falling
Douglas.
down. Falling
Was
down.
it with Michael Douglas?
falling, yeah,
Yeah, one
yeah,
of my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah,
yeah,
movies.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, well,
The traffic, the
Kurt
heat just
Russell.
had him finish. And all it took was the traffic and the horn.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what made me
That's
think
it.
of
You don't know
it.
people understand.
That's all it took.
You
You
Yeah.
don't know
know,
people's
and,
mental
and
capacity. That's why even with your kids, I
right.
was reading this thing. So I'll tell y'all what happened. So this black guy waited for this man's daughter. He'd been following her, waited for her to go to prom. When she got out the car for prom, he shot her and killed her. Black man. And he waited for the police. When the police got there, he told them, tell him now he knows how to feel. So the backstory is this police officer pulled over his son, simple traffic stop. Something happened, son died. They let the police officer go free. Basically, oh, nothing happened, blah, blah, blah. Then fast forward, got his daughter. So he said, now you know how I feel. He had nothing to lose. And I'm like, you can't, I'm a very big component. Watch how you treat people and watch how you do people. You think, even as a police officer, people think, oh, it's not nothing gonna happen to me. Man, karma is a bitch.
They got 10 and 11-year-olds catching feelings and somehow finding their parents' weapons, or
Yeah.
stealing somebody else's weapon and going to school and handling stuff the way they think they know how best. You don't know what's going through even a young person's mind.
Yeah. And
So,
I've seen
you
a
know,
lot of these issues when it's mass shootings is that mass shooter may have been bullied or something like that, and nobody addressed it. I know it was one instance where that was the case. He had been bullied. I mean, the parents have went up there, they had them talk, and nothing happened. And the boy was just like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of getting beat up every day. And he did something about it with a gun and had a mass shooting. But I was just
Hey,
like,
Elton,
huh?
that story that you told was actually an AI generated story. That's the reports of that story.
Oh,
But regardless,
okay.
it isn't outside the scope of a person's pain, which is the biggest takeaway from it. Even if it is AI generated, it doesn't matter. You do have that like those revenge plots. that,
You know, that's what happened to. So this one, the one about the guy in L.A.,
yeah,
Doherty, that was real.
yeah.
And so that was like he just went off, and I know I read like the manifesto, and I'm not gonna get into it, but you just how you treat people is a big deal, and so that's why even us as fathers teaching to treat people with respect, regardless
Mhm.
Of what's going on, the situation. Don't let nobody disrespect you, but don't disrespect, but treat people kind. I'm just trying to teach them kindness because anything except people love. I was saying,
But teaching them inside, that's why I said it's important inside the home, because there's not, in honesty, there's not many moments. Well, and maybe it could be for people with multiple kids, but not for us that have just one. There's minimal times to teach our kid those type of things, because again, we create a great environment. We create a safe environment. You know what I'm saying? I learned how to fight and learn not to hit people when I fought my siblings and my cousins.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first introduction into it ain't gonna come back to you the same way.
Yep.
Because I popped one of my cousins and they popped me back and scratched me and my sister. You feel me? I slapped my sister and she hit me with the boot in the head. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That force ain't always equal when it come back.
It ain't. And my mom taught us that. But she taught us that in the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, like I said, we create, this safety and loving and provided for environment for our children. And that's no shade to us. That's what we're supposed to do. And it ain't their fault that they have parents that love them enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have to find, where can I teach them about, being, humble in this area if there's no need for humility in the home? Where do I teach them, how to keep them hands to, not to talk to people like that? If there's no, how do I do it in the home where like I said, we've created this environment. And this is where it goes back to what I was saying earlier about how sometimes, I feel like I have to show you the best way. I can't be. Now I got to show you how to be a man. Yeah. Now I'm going to have to let you get punched in the face. And no, I'm not going to go defend you in that. I'm not going to tell the teacher to suspend the kid. You're going to learn how to fix that yourself, champion, or you're going to get punched again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to fix this for you. I'm not. Learn how to, like you said, regulate your emotions. Learn how to, conflict resolution. How to, you know what I'm saying? How to use conflict, how to resolve conflict. Learn how to, or you're going to get punched again. You'll get tired of getting punched.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to get tired of getting punched. Because sometimes my son don't have the environment that I had to learn. See, even in a safe environment, I learned. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? In my home with my family, when we was fighting and pinching each other and slapping each other and getting mad at each other, it's still a safe environment to learn it in. He doesn't have that. So it's like now I'm like, oh shit, I just gotta pray that I just gotta pray that God, you know what I'm saying? Keep him, but it kind of is what it is.
Daryl joined us. Daryl is on a all-going everyday college tour for his son, who's the next SEC superstar or something.
And Dominic Sue.
Yeah.
I prefer he be a scientist. Just use that to get that free degree, baby.
It's funny you said that. That was the first time seeing Daryl. I was like, you look like a Dominic Sue.
I'm talking Lil Daryl. I'm talking Lil Daryl gonna be. That's who he gonna be.
Oh yeah, he's nice out there. I apologies, fellas. I was cleaning up some stuff late at work, man. It went longer than anticipated.
Yeah,
glad to be here though.
Like 2 hours. I didn't realize it. This is a good conversation. Yeah, I was gonna wrap up just in case so we can, but feel free. If you look, I don't know if you can see any of the questions. If you want to chime in on anything, tell a little bit about yourself. Give us a little intro of yourself. How kids you got? How old?
Oh, shoot, man. 44 now. Married 15 years. 2 kids, a 17-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. I'm an administrator in high school at LAUSD out here, but I coach my son in basketball, football. He runs track at another high school, but he used to be my student in middle school. Well, so
Ain't he like a black belt in Taekwondo?
blue. That's long.
one of them
Long.
colors.
It don't
Yeah,
matter. He got
yeah,
more experience than me, so I ain't gonna. Them hands is lethal.
yeah.
I
That
know. So
guy.
we just so I'll ask you one question. This because your son. So one of the questions I was talking to Zay about, and you can chime in too, raising a young black man, and with racial things going on and conversations you got to have with him. What was the question? How do you approach conversations about difficult topics with your children?
Wow, that's interesting that you say that because when my son goes to school, Culver is notoriously bigoted city. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but the high school is primarily black. I'll say this: the difficulty came actually having to deal with my 9-year-old daughter within this past year at the local elementary school that's right next door because they're still predominantly white and Asian.
Mhm.
And you know, there was some issues. I don't tell people that I'm an administrator in education, but we had a situation where parents were using their kids were using the N word at the little playground across the street. Nobody
Mm.
interjecting and stepping in. We had a young man who I guess he was recently adopted by a parent who identifies as a they. And the kid had, spit in my daughter's ear during lunch. I'm like, oh
He
man,
had what?
Spitting his
spit
daughter.
in my daughter's ear at lunch, bro.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
where the daddy at? This was last year. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yo,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where the
We gotta
dad
get
at,
out.
man? I don't need to talk to nobody, but like, I
Push
just
your
to tell
daddy.
you one, man, the kid didn't have a quote unquote dad. Is identified the parent, little short individuals identifies as a they. I'm like, look, then so I talked to the administrator and it was just like, I'm gonna talk to my daughter, but I don't have no understanding for, whatever this is. So I said, being an administrator, I understand what's going on. My daughter and my wife, very, pro-black and the imagery of the clothing that she wears, how she wears her hair. So it stands out extremely in that school. There are probably 7 black kids in that school of about 1,100 kids.
Damn,
Mm.
that's crazy.
So,
That's wild.
so it was bad. So last year was really, really rough. So we handled that and didn't have that particular issue. But we had to talk to my daughter just about speaking up, defending yourself, and at the end of the day, throw them hands. Don't worry about nothing else. There
Yeah,
are some things
yeah,
you understand, and there's some things you got to be able to take consequences for, and I'm okay with that. But and like I
So
said, being an educator, I had to also let the administrator, know.
good.
We were frustrated behind things like, we would see the Chinese New Year posted every month in the newsletter, something about, the Jewish holidays, whatever, but, it was never nothing pro-black. We couldn't get anything pro-black. Even Black History Month, y'all still posting about Holocaust stuff. So I went up there and I let my feelings be known right there. And then I kind of let out what I do, who I am, what I know, and how they're going about it. And I just said, you have teachers who are on this PTA, parents who are doing this, and you're doing a disservice to kids of a different color. And so when I have to have these conversations with my daughter, like we're dealing with Ruby Bridges,
mm,
it's a problem for me that we're in 2024, but you're not addressing these issues. So my wife took it upon herself to join the PTO, but also reached out to the district and say, look, you either going to handle this or I'm going to go then use my influence and start to reach out in the ways
yeah,
that I know I can make it happen. So
yeah,
you either can deal with that or you can deal with something separately. Now we didn't have an issue of the spitting and the direct verbal things that my daughter was faced with, like, oh, unicorns ain't black, oh, they shouldn't have black afros, or that's ugly, or what is this, And
wow.
so that's a reflection of those parents. But I told my daughter, my wife and I, there's a way to deal with that. As a child, you speak up, use your voice, you don't cower down.
Mm.
We'll handle the stuff in the background.
That's so good.
So
Yeah, that's
it
good.
was.
I just had a situation like that here. we're in another country now, and so when Camille started school, I dreaded. We were in Texas. We was in like suburbs, and I dreaded her coming home one day telling me somebody had called her the N word. Never happened. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, Camille comes home and telling me a boy called her the N word on the bus. I am hot as fish grease. And so I'm like getting ready. And our issue is the school is very nonchalant. And I had to think about it differently. They're not as familiar with it here as I am in the States. I'm super angry. I'm mad. Nothing has happened. But they don't really know the history of the word and stuff here. And the boy said it. So since then, the mother has seen me. I haven't seen the father. The father was like hurt. He was in the hospital. But the mother has like gone out of her way to come to me and apologize and say what they're doing to educate their son. Their son grew up here. He never grew up in the States. So he's probably heard the word on TV or the movies or rap or whatever.
Rap song, yeah.
Never knew what it meant. Because it's another little girl that's a little black girl that was also called that. But she, for her, it wasn't like she was adopted and she was, raised differently. So she didn't know. But I was hot. But I was like what you said. I told Camille legit. I was like, if he say it again, you knock his motherfucking ass out. I was like, I don't even care. We'll put you in another school. It's easy to put you in another school. It's like it ain't shit to me to put you in another school. But I had to stop letting my anger take over. Because even when I seen the little boy with his mother, Camille seen him a couple weeks ago. She's like, that's a little boy, and I went, that scene in Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I was just like, and I seen his mom. And like I said,
I gotta run, gentlemen. Excuse me, I gotta run. But
right.
Hopefully we can do this again soon. And it was nice meeting all of y'all.
You too, James.
It's a pleasure, man. Take care.
Daryl, you missed some good conversation, bro. I wish you was here, man. These brothers are highly intelligent, man, and respectful and caring about one brother to another. I can pick that up. So I will be rejoining y'all at the next meeting. Okay?
Absolutely.
You'll be safe and God bless.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, brother. Happy Father's Day. This is about
Happy
Father's
Day, man. Take it easy.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everyone.
Same to you. Same to you.
Everyone.
I'll see you Sunday at Crazy Day. Sunday is Crazy Day.
Yeah, exactly. Day de loco. Appreciate those socks y'all get, brother.
I request steaks so I don't get socks.
But yeah, so it was just I had to think about it differently here being in another country because I was like, they don't understand the history of the word. They do understand oppression and stuff, but it's not the N word is not, really their thing. So it made me like fall back and like really think about it, but I was still mad. I was hot as hell. But since then,
I still remember the first time I was called the N word. Man, at that time I didn't even know how to handle it as a kid.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to handle it. From a kid to a kid, like where'd you get that from?
Yeah, I don't think I was mad the first time I heard it because I think I was in high school and I went to a prime, like after I left Westchester, I went to a predominantly Hispanic high school. So coming from it being heard every day, it was like nothing hearing it every day. So when I first heard it from somebody that wasn't black, I don't think it hurt me as much as the fact it was like, you're not supposed to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if when I first heard it as a youngster, it was just like, hey, you're not black. You're not supposed to say that. You know what I'm saying? It didn't like sting me because I didn't really, I'm like, we use the word like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think I heard the racism. I heard the disrespect towards me because me and the person didn't like each other. You know what I'm saying too? So I don't know if I felt the racism. I just felt the dislike because for the reason we was disliking each other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then moving forward, as I started to understand more and more of it myself and things like that, then it was like, oh, that word, that word, it hurts a little bit, stings a little bit. Then I felt the racism. But like my first time, it was just like, and I think they said it in a, I don't even think it was the N word. I think it was like a negra mayate or some shit like that. Like it was like,
Nah, mine was a hard. It was a hard R,
Yeah,
and
mine
it
was
was
an ER. Mine was an ER. I never forget.
it was a hard end.
I had transferred. I just went 1 year to the school. It was a Lutheran school. And me and this white kid said it to me, and I was going to beat the shit. He was going to get the breaks. What saved him from getting his ass whooped, me and his brother was like best friends. His brother was like this. He's like a good white athlete. And me and him used to always compete. And so we were really good friends. That's the only thing saved him. He's like, that's my brother. I know. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna tell my mother, and they talked to his mother and stuff. But I was gonna beat the brakes off his ass, and he knew it too. He started running. I was chasing him. My big ass was his ass like a goddamn lion, and his brothers.
The first time I encountered something like that, like I said, growing up in Detroit, it really wasn't. I wasn't really around too many white people or Hispanic people. But I think when I went down to college in Alabama. And
you for sure heard it.
And you know what? It wasn't even that. It wasn't even the N word. I was on route 77, some back road, getting some gas, heading down to Tuskegee with my teammates who played basketball, and we all were from Detroit.
You lost, boy.
And we stopped to get some gas, and the lady straight up said, "We don't serve your kind here."
Oh yeah. Hey, your kind is almost feel worse than the N word.
Yeah, it did. So I was like, oh, but then I'm looking around like, bro, I can't see nothing but trees, dirt. I'm moving on down.
Yep.
I ain't got nothing to say, but my boy wanted to, no, what you mean? What's that? We can do whatever. I'm like, bro, we out here. We don't know nothing about nothing. Man, you better
we're gonna be on one of these. We're gonna be on one of these trees.
Right.
Yeah, he gonna talk. He want to talk city tough and slick, and then this big old country. Come on, what you want to do, boy? Spit his snuff out. I'm like, you done talked yourself into that. He wanted the fair one. Go ahead, down. Now you want to get in the car. But like you said, they didn't use the term, but it's different. It was different because hearing someone saying, but actually experiencing it to that degree, because even in 2004, they were still burning crosses down there. So I got to see that. And this is, of course, it ain't on Talladega's college, but the city of Talladega is still extremely racially divided. That's where the super speedway is.
Yeah.
So in general, the South, like my mother's from Mississippi, a certain part of my dad's from
I was gonna say Mississippi is the worst.
I will not drive. When I tell you, I will not drive. My mother, me being here, she be talking about the cartel. I'm like, you from Mississippi. Do not talk to me about nothing. I was like,
the clan's still alive and well over there.
Very well. They just had an issue where a police officer got in trouble for he killed. So a crime, and Lauren, thank you for checking me too on that AI, because them AI stories, then I didn't even know.
It's scary. I don't know what the hell to believe nowadays.
Yeah, but this one, I think that I fact checked this one. Hopefully this one right. Hopefully, but they killed a guy and threw his body like in the swamp. So the mother had been trying to investigate, and they finally got the investigation. They sent the police officer to jail. He went to jail. That same family, the brother of that mother that her son was killed, he got killed in Mississippi. And I think this was just this year or last year. They retaliated against him for the police officer to go to jail, and the brother got killed. And they threw the same thing, like threw his body in the swamp, killed him, beat him up. They did some horrific stuff to him. And this is last year or this year, and I was like, Mississippi, like the South is scary. Like them back roads. When I used to drive to Arkansas to my mother-in-law house from us in Texas, when the speed limit is 35, I'm going 30. Speed limit 65, I'm going 62, 61. You're not going to have a reason to pull me over. I don't want any reason to get pulled over. It is terrifying. My gun, I have my guns in the trunk. Like, but I'm telling the officer, if the officer pulled me over, I got my license. I didn't get pulled over, but you just got to be careful.
It's no doubt that it's still some of them out here. That's man, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Like the first time I got called the hard the hard nigger,
Mhm.
I was on the bottom of a dog pile playing football for BV
Mm.
out
Novell, was it
in
Novell?
no, it wasn't.
Mm.
I don't remember the name of the team that we played, but it was out in the cornfield somewhere though. Yeah, that was the first time. Like I had
Yeah.
not experienced it up until there, and I didn't even know how to handle it. I cried after thinking about it back then, but I haven't
It was
been
what?
really.
Your senior year, right?
I think this one was my sophomore year.
Okay, I wasn't playing then. I wasn't playing with you.
Yeah, this is my sophomore year, and I just it's just one of those things that just kind of throws you off your square because I really didn't. I had never been called it up, in my entire life. In Saginaw, growing up on the east side, it wasn't too many white folks on the east side.
Yeah, at all. It
I
wasn't
mean, not
unless they were poor.
well, because down the street where my grandma lived, because we stayed with my grandma for a while, there were white families there. They was cool, but man, going farther back out into the children of the corn sections, nah,
Mm.
no,
Well,
we weren't.
Michigan was notoriously Klan country.
Oh, shit, yes, but not
Yeah.
in our cities like Saginaw, Detroit.
Not so
Yeah,
much.
not sag nasty, but if you get further up,
Yeah,
they playing rich. But let me ask y'all this, since and I'm not sure, Lehman, whether you like how old your children are, but I think being, having teenagers right now, one of the things that increasingly concerns me or bothers me now or has my antennas up because I'm at a high school and I worked in middle school 18 years before, and these last 2 years I've been at the high school. I think one of the biggest things that's hitting me now is the escalation of violence with our teens and the need to capture it on video
Yeah.
and post it. I'll say, I had a student, and these kids weren't in the same circle, but I had a student. They went to what they call those things with the after the sunrise or something after the prom, and that thing they go to the beach and they out
Oh,
there the sunrise party or something.
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So these kids run in the same circle. I have a kid he feels like he got set up, but he literally gets robbed, jumped, stumped, have his stuff taken by guys that, he knows who and where they are. They know who he is. They have a similar person in the friend circle, and it's just like, oh, he's kind of flashy. He seems a little soft. The kid came in from Redondo. They beat him up, robbed him, took his stuff. And he runs and he goes and he leaves, and his girlfriend stays at the party with these other individuals. And he notifies me, and so even though it happened off site, I can't do anything. But it's kids on our site, so I'm keeping my antennas up about kind of what's going on. The concerning part is I have a dad who doesn't want to do anything, even though we know who robbed his kids. And I get his concern because he was like, well, I don't want them to come back and, do anything else. So we don't want to do anything more. Now, I know the kid that he says who did it. So I've talked to that kid and the family separately. But what is my question to you all is what do you think the state is with our young men, and why the propensity to perform these acts of violence and televise them? Like,
it's
I
for
don't understand that, and it's kind of scary in a sense. So, what do you think?
people
That's
do that to just this sense of fame. It's sickening to me. Like you've had people go live and kill people on live sessions because they got all these viewers, and you got viewers like, oh man, he really did it. It's crazy. It was a guy. Some rapper killed himself. Some young kid killed himself not that long ago. Had his gun in a video, and made a mistake and shot herself. For the life of me, I just was like, why you had a gun loaded if you was making a video with the gun? Like,
I think
why
I seen that.
I was like, why don't you unload? Like, I had 3 guns. I'm very big on gun safety. I remember going to a gun range and somebody was playing, and I was like, 2 black kids. We were at this gun range, and they shooting, and they turn the gun to the side. I went over and talked to them because the gun person is watching just them, and I went and talked. Like, let me tell y'all something. It's just us in here. It's just black. Y'all the only black people in here, and me. They're watching everything you do.
They're recording everything you do.
They're recording that. Yes, be careful. Like, this isn't a plaything. Like, I come here to learn how to shoot so I can defend my family. You should be doing the same thing. But they were like recording themselves, but that's the thing now. They just, that fame, people.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
I think this generation, man, kids have access to fame, to popularity through social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you have its attention that you get, even on the simplest form. Like, think of us, even as adults, on just the basic level, man, people find entertainment in chaos and drama and things like that. Even I remember watching a kid watching America's Funniest Home Videos, watching unfortunate things happen to people, humored us. You know what I'm saying? Humored us. I watched the Ridiculousness. That show still airs to this day, 15 years, because there's always viewership for like things happening to other people. You feel what I'm saying? And so social media has allowed a platform for the average person to get clicks, to get likes, to get noticed. You know what I'm saying? And this is how they do it. You know what I'm saying? This is how they do it. And they, to the point where they even create it. It's one thing back in the day, before Instagram was super famous and you can monetize it, it was more so of a world star, like you caught it in the moment. They're creating these moments now.
Yeah.
Those boys that jumped that kid, they was like, all right, we're going to catch him here. We're going to do this tomorrow. And then we're going to do it. You guys going to be over there. Oh, yeah, I'm going to film this. This going to go crazy when I put, like, it's premeditated.
Yeah.
It's not even like something that happened and you just happen to catch it, like police brutality or something like that. Like, you just caught it in the moment. They're creating the moment.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
There was something that you said, because it's this drawn a few parallels here. So something that you said earlier, Zay, was like America's Funniest Home Videos and ridiculousness. One of the key things about ridiculousness is because I watched it for quite a few seasons.
Yeah, me too.
Most of those things are just, I'll admit, you can't sometimes tell, but most of them are during a certain time frame. They're happening naturally. They just happen to be recorded.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, like America's Funniest Home Videos, same thing, happen to be recorded. Now what has happened, I believe, and you can tell me if you disagree with this, is because of the monetization of idiocy, essentially, you get paid for doing it. You get paid if you get held accountable. You get paid when you come out on the other side of it. So it almost nullifies any type of accountability whatsoever. As long as you're getting paid, that's the point. So it's kind of like the saying of no publicity is bad publicity, right?
Yeah.
It's a perversion, an even further perversion of that, because it's the law of diminishing returns. Now you have to continue to do even more worse things to get noticed.
Yep.
So now, to what to Daryl's point, what you're seeing now, this ain't even the worst, because you've had people getting killed on camera. That I would consider that to be the worst. But I mean, there's a couple of things I would put in that category. But because we don't want to hold them accountable properly. And I'd argue that our system doesn't even know how to at this point.
Right. That's
It
the
is
part.
lucrative for the masses to get into these stupid trends. And that's what we're seeing. And our brains, because we're men that have to be accountable, we don't know how to process it. So we're looking at it like, what the fuck is this?
Mhm.
Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
Huh.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I was
Because
looking at
because
the list.
the whole idea of I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, did y'all just see that list of they released of like the funniest people?
Yeah.
And all of them are like creating stuff that's just stupid. Like I think out of that list, maybe one or two are actual comedians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, yeah, like Drewski. I like Drewski, some things he do, but some of the stuff I've watched, I'll be like, what's going on?
I didn't know who Drewski was until a month ago.
Yeah, some stuff he do be funny. I've seen some stuff. Some stuff I'll be like, it's a little edgy.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's
But
lucrative.
it's what you said though. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's monetized and they reward it, you know, because like back in our day, we did everything to avoid it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We did everything to avoid getting captured on picture and camera
There was no money behind it.
and avoiding things. Yeah, because you know, but they monetized it now, and it's accessible. Just think about it, man. You have, you know, my son. I remember my son told me a list one time. He gave me a list of kids that were making like millions of dollars a year just off social media. He was like, okay, this kid's 13 and he makes $7 million a year. This kid is only 12 and he makes this much. And, you know, this kid is 15 and he makes $30 million a year. Like, and, you know, he's like, and it's mind blowing. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, damn, Jesus, I done worked my whole life and won't ever make. I could work my whole life and never get close to any of that. And you got a 12-year-old. So now all these 12 years have aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
Now all these 15-year-olds and 60s teenagers, they have, because it's so accessible too. And all you have to do is do whatever it takes to get the recognition, to get the likes, to get the views, to get the viewership, to get, you know what I'm saying, you know, the content and things of that nature. And I think that's what it is. Because when you really think about it, they're not really doing nothing different than all of us did. We used to get into fights in school, and you know, I've been jumped, and I've jumped people in my day. You know what I'm saying? You know, 30 years ago. You know, so there's no difference. They're still doing the same things. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, in our day when we did stuff, no matter what it was, even if it's still in the bubble gum, you know what I'm saying, from the grocery store, a bag of chips from the store, we was sneaky with it. We didn't want, you know, we was trying to, there was no way we wanted anybody to see what we did. Now, like, you know, to your point again, you know what I'm saying, Lorman, is there's people that are taking the cameras, they're doing the smash and grabs, taping it.
Oh yeah.
They're going into these liquor stores in 30 of them and just ransacking the shelves with the cameras. Oh, look what we doing. Like, oh, we're stealing.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
we're stealing.
Yeah,
look what
and
we're doing.
bringing it back to the question about hard conversations. Like, well, here's a question: if we would have had the technology back then, do you think that we would have been doing the recording like they doing today? Do you think we would have did that, or do you think we had a little bit more?
I would like to say no.
Fear.
Yeah. I would like to say. I would like to say no. I mean, obviously we didn't, but I would like to say no.
Yeah.
You know,
I would say no because I think the music, the messaging is different.
I forgot about that.
I think the music now purports, you know, do this, do that. You know, drill music, like the messaging is so different. Like you said, we didn't want to tell, we didn't want to switch. Now, like you said, if I'm thinking of what the kids listen to, everything is telling them to do this to show everybody. I think our music, because the music feeds the spirit in your mind, and you kind of move off of that. And and I kind of got that from my dad. If I was in a down or a sad place, he was like, yo, you can't be listening to, I miss my Uncle Charles, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and now you want to die, you want to go here, your cousin got killed.
Yeah.
First thing he did was take all my music that
You had to counteract.
perpetuated that spirit or emotion.
Yep.
And so it allowed me to get to a better place.
Right,
so I think it would have been different, because the artists that were popular, although there were people, you had NWA doing their, they were talking about what they were experiencing, but I don't remember it being to the point, go and do this and do that, and I think that's what I'm seeing more so of.
Think about this. There's a song, I don't know if you guys listen to Jay-Z. There's a song, there's a couple lines in his song, 30 something, from the Kingdom Come album, and he says, I'm from the era where like snitches ain't shit, and y'all from the era where snitching is the shit. You feel what I'm saying? And then he goes on to say, like, y'all respect the one who got shot. We respect it. I grew up in an era where I respect the shooter. Like even now, like you get shot, people glorify it because you're gonna sell more albums.
Right.
Your street cred, you got shot. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? I walk out, I got shot. Yeah. And the street cred blows up. And it's like, since when is putting your life in danger? The person who is the shooter is the tough guy. You know what I'm saying? That's the person that needs to be like, so, and not to glorify any of it, but I'm just saying, just the mindset of and the switch of the eras in music, like you said, when we listen to the music back in our day, whether it be the R&B where it was love and love on your woman, treat your woman right, and nigga, we grew up in an R&B era where niggas cried when their girl left. You know what I'm saying? Please don't leave. Please, baby, please. You know what I'm saying? Now, you feel me? I die if you don't take me back, baby. Please.
It's been an hour since you've been gone.
Yo, you feel what I'm saying?
The golden era R&B.
Yeah, but now, you know what I'm saying? Niggas are screwing other niggas' girls. Yeah. Now, future.
Like the era that give a girl a drug to get her. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, all of that.
You ain't got game. You just can't get her. It's okay. Rejection is okay. Like, and
music is the soundtrack to
that's
our
another
lives.
Point. Kids this generation can't handle rejection. They can't handle rejection well.
I think that's the biggest. Thinking about it, the biggest fear of a conversation to have with my son would be along that very line right there. One, the music and stuff that you listen to, because I grew up listening to mostly nothing really. Like if it wasn't gospel, it wasn't happening in my grandma's household. So I didn't really hear a whole lot of, like, I don't relate to a lot of people when it comes to rap. I just don't. I didn't listen to it growing up. It wasn't a part of my life. When people talk about NWA, I'm like, I'm just a passenger here. I know nothing. It's like I don't know anything because I didn't grow up with it. So I could see how it definitely shaped my outlook on reading in between the lines and actually like seeing what artists are really saying versus just acting on emotion. So I kind of had a leg up with that, but then it also gave me a better base plate to understand what people were reacting to when they would hear certain things. So now even listening to some, I don't really listen to most music nowadays, but just thinking about it, like what is my son gonna be listening to in 10 years?
Yeah.
And what is that conversation gonna look like to be, so I could tell him, it's like, look, this stuff right here, like, bob to it for the beat.
That's it.
But these people, like, they're influential into like what Daryl was saying. When I'm sad, I'm listening to something happy to pick me up.
Yeah.
I remember the when my father passed away, I heard the song "Happy" by Pharrell. And that brought tears to my eyes because my dad was generally a happy person, and that just brought tears to my eyes. Like, we feel music. And I think as Black folks, we feel music more than any other race. But but that is genuinely terrifying. Like what the next
It's
10 years of music is gonna look like for my kid.
music, and I was in the music industry, and I'm trying to tell you, music is maybe top two, top three, maybe one, arguably, most influential, impactful components that exist. You know what I'm saying? Outside of maybe actual human influence. You know what I'm saying? But and so when you have the thing, you don't know nobody that doesn't listen to music. I promise you. And if you do, they're like one out of every 10,000. You know what I'm saying? I'm not forget genre, forget whether it's gospel, rock, country, pop,
Yeah.
folk, whatever. I promise you, you don't know 5 people in your life that does not listen to music.
Music
You know
is
what I'm saying?
therapy.
You know what I mean? When you want to road carpooling, road tripping with your family. You know what I'm saying? I'm a minister, and I listen to. I was in the music industry. I'm a minister. I listen to gospel music a lot. But let me tell you something. When the homies is like, we going out this weekend, we playing this. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's gonna get me lit while
Yeah.
we
It's the
on
mood.
Yeah.
the
It's a mood. It's therapeutic. It's put you.
whatever it is. So
It induces something. It induces
Yep.
feeling.
it evokes an emotion. You feel me? When girls is when I was married, I always knew when I did something effing wrong. I promise you, man.
Oh
My
yeah,
wife would play
music.
music, she would play songs, and I used to be like,
Yep.
this song about being unappreciated. Let me go.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
And
ask
you
you
go do
to go out on
something
a date this
exactly.
weekend.
Got you.
You know,
Got you.
you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I would know. She would play songs that matched how she felt. You know what I'm saying? Or her mood. And so a lot of these kids, like I said, my son does music. He produces, he writes music and all that stuff. And just to hear sometimes what he listens to, and I just be like, he be in his room, and I just be like,
That's terrible.
no, it's not. No, he's good. No, he's a
You
good.
kind of wondering.
No, I'm talking about the music he listening to. He be like, that
Oh
ain't
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. He'd be like, Dad, listen to this, and I'd be like, Dad, you can't tell me this not nice. I'm like, I don't even know what this kid is saying. He don't even know English.
Exactly.
He don't even know.
Exactly. That's how Dale and them be. I be like, man. Let me sometimes when it's just me and him, I'll be like, put on your playlist just because I need to know what you're feeding
Yeah,
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
I say, okay, that's your okay. I'll give him grant him leniency with your playlist for sports. All right, you getting yourself in the zone okay. Is this your regular playlist? Because now I got some questions.
Yeah.
So but we had those open conversations. But I do it because my dad started with me. But like as we're talking about it now, I'm trying to figure out a way because the biggest issue, like I'm trying to figure out a way of like how to reach these boys next year and these girls. Like 95% of the conflicts, the girls won't let stuff go. Boys a fight and it'll be over, and then they had their fair one or whatever, and for the most part they can let it go. The girls, they hold on, and then this friend got to get it, this friend got to get it, this friend got to get it, and I'm like, man, I can't figure them out.
Daryl, can I be honest with you, brother?
Yeah, bro.
Jesus is still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, you might need a woman for that, dude.
Hey,
Jesus is
man, look,
still
I
trying to
work
figure
with
that out.
all women. I'm like, and I literally told these ladies at work, I said, it is too many of y'all around here for this much stuff to just continue to boil and brew.
Because
Boil
they do
over.
it too. They do it too.
Yeah, they do say
Exactly,
that.
but man,
Hey, Daryl,
I'm just like, bro.
talking about that on the same topic is that have you ever considered? I just had a conversation with a young lady, and I don't know if this is a solution or I don't know, but it just kind of made me think. I had a conversation with a young lady maybe about a week or two ago, and she's an AKA, and as much as she loves her sorority, she was talking about one of the things that she maybe if it was going to be one thing she disliked about her sorority is that the AKAs are pretty much like they the prissy type, they the you know, um, you know,
Pretty girl.
pretty girls and stuff like that. So
The
they,
alphas be whack though.
huh?
I'm messing with Daryl. He's messing with Daryl.
So they don't really go to the trenches. Like they don't really go.
Shout out to my friends, my fellow D9 brothers.
Yeah. So they don't really go. See, like they don't go. Like the girls who could benefit from this society are in the hoods. They're like in areas to show them how to, what to expect and what they could aspire to be, and the characteristics and traits of a lady and things of
Mhm.
that nature. Those are the women, them the girls who need it the most, not the girl at Dartmouth who was raised culture and who was raised in an environment, who already knows how to act and who knows how to be classy, because that's the family and environment they was raised in. Like we trying to get these young girls, you know what I'm saying, that
Mhm.
going along the wrong path, that to teach them. So have you ever considered something like that, like partnering with an organization, even if it's not a sorority, but an organization that school that mentors, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Our school actually has something like that, and they're actually looking for groups to do that. They have this thing called Safe Passages in LAUSD, and I was actually just talking to Pastor Shep about it when he did the commencement graduation. And you know, they have different church groups. Like anybody can kind of vendor and put together their thing. Like LAUSD is kicking money out. Like we have a group on campus called Brothers Against Banging Youth, who we brought in to kind of help with the supervision and kind of cool some of the issues on campus. And Brothers Against Banging Youth, this brother's name Charles Spratley, but his street name was Bear. But he has a group of ex members, gang members who have been reformed, so to speak. But they come in and they come into the school. So I specifically asked for ladies, because they have a different, they come from the same place these girls come from. They can probably reach them more so than some of these ladies on campus. And it's been helpful in them being able to turn down a lot of things, because they've been in those situations. They've been in the street. They know what the real is, whether through their former affiliations or whatnot. So that just came in this year, and it made a big difference, because earlier, like at the start of the semester, like our dean had a fight with a former student, and she was throwing hands
Mm.
Mm.
on his brother. But it also had a lot to do with just his interaction and energy he had given her for the last few years. So those outside organizations, whether they be D9 or any positive female or male group, I think that is what you need to bring to the schools now, which, like I said, LAUSD has started that this year. So I think having the opportunity to be with them, and then kind of, if we can get them some more training on what it looks like to work with kids in a school setting, I think you're going to see more of that grow. So that's definitely the thing. Like you said, you don't need to wait until they get to college to do that, because if you don't catch them early,
Yeah.
Mm.
you lose them before then. So that's
Yeah.
what I think, being that, since I've been transitioned to the high school, because I worked at the middle school for 20 years, and so 18 years. Those kids, they know me, they know what I'm about. It's easy to connect with them. They move different. They know. It's like kind of getting the kids now who coming in from other places where I wasn't, and they kind of see how I move. But you need to have more people with that experience, and you need to have more of them on campus. The biggest issue, or where I am, is the staff is outdated. You don't have to be of the same skin color to be able to connect to the culture, but they're so outdated that it's they can't reach. It's like it's more just, I'm here to get my money and go. I don't really care. Whoever's here, if they want to learn, I'll teach them. If they don't, get out of my class or whatever. And so, I'm fighting a different battle that I haven't had to deal with. But even if I talk to colleagues Case in point, there was a high school on the east side that had a kid get killed, and I'm sure you probably saw it on the news, where the kid got jumped by like 20 guys, and then he pulled out a gun and shot off into the crowd, killing another kid.
That
Oh, it
was
was like over there.
that was down the street from my house.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that kid, the one who actually wound up dying, had gone to my school previously.
Oh,
But the thing is, like, everybody say, oh, such and such was this kid, great kid, blah, 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 blah. Our last images of that kid was him involving himself in something he had nothing to do,
oh yeah, no, that's
throwing kicks and punches.
the story I hear. That's what I'm saying. Like I didn't hear that he was. I know people who know him, and it's true. And it was like, yeah, he wasn't that.
So, but that's the thing. And it's just like, man, it's just like we need more support in there, and it's just like we losing so many along the way. But like I said, coming from Detroit, man, in high school, there were 6 shootings in my high school, 3 on the inside, 3 in the parking lot, all fatalities. So seeing people killed in school and on school grounds wasn't anything new, unfortunately. But how you went about addressing it, and it was so, well, I wouldn't call it rare now because, it happened 6 times at my school. But the violence element of it, like the propensity to just want to do it, I'm seeing something different as I'm here. Like everything wants to be filmed and they want to be like, yo, look at me, I'm doing this. Like you said, it's like, we don't want to be seen. That's why I tell the kids, it's so easy. I said, you want to know who the snitches are? Look at every last one of your friends with their phone. That's a snitch. That's a snitch. That's a snitch. How do we get?
Look at social media.
Yeah, it's social media in general.
So y'all telling on yourself. I don't got to do no work. But my thing is like, how do we reach you prior to? And so I'm trying to figure out the messaging, and then like you said, the sourcing, how to catch them early. Like I don't see the programs we used to have where you take kids on the weekend, y'all. The bus come through the neighborhood and pick up 15 people, and go to the Bible study, and then you go on to play the sports, and it's kind of set up
VBS.
safe and cool things.
Make VBS
Bring back
great
the good
again.
news game bus and stuff, man. Like safe place to get caught up.
Yeah.
So
But it's a different mentality. I was telling somebody about with churches. I appreciate churches that are in like rougher neighborhoods because they get a better sense of community versus when I was in the suburbs. I remember a church I went to growing up. The pastor used to, on Halloween, he'll let us do like a haunted house in the church, and nothing if you wasn't too crazy, but we were in the church and people like kind of shitted on that. But I was like, if you look at the news on Halloween in our neighborhood, 4 or 5 kids got shot. But one of those kids wasn't me or my brother or my cousins and all. Because as hood as we was in church, and the pastor allowed he understood the bigger picture. It wasn't about the church. It was like, let me save these youth. They are dying at rapid numbers. And this is in the 90s, early 2000s. But people just aren't involved. People are real scared. Church too I feel like church have to, and I ain't gonna get into it on here for people bash me, but I believe
that's another conversation.
That's another conversation. But I believe it's more that can be done with us in our own community. With us, like even us having this conversation as dads, it's okay to talk to other kids. The neighborhood, it takes a village. I think people got away from that. It takes a village, but it's because you got to watch if somebody's being harsh or mistreating a child. But I know, like, I couldn't do nothing in my house. My neighbors were telling my mom if I had a girl, oh yeah, you had a girl come over at this time. Like, my mom was like, you heard you had a girl over? No, I didn't. My neighbors had already peeped game. They already said something. They told on me. They was telling. But now people be like my neighbors in my suburban area I stayed in, I ain't talking to hardly none of them. I ain't really know them like that. When I grew up in the hood where I grew up in Saginaw, I knew all my neighbors from probably every house on the entire block. We knew each other. But it's different. People don't like, they don't talk. They just keep to themselves. They don't. People care about themselves. Big. It's a big thing with me. They don't like. It's all about me, 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 me. It's not about the community. We see that in politics a lot. It's very selfish. And I believe as a humankind, as a human race, we got to get out of that mentality. I'm very
It's a survival mode mentality. That's basically what it is. Because
yeah.
everybody feels that they're in survival mode, so they don't have time for
Anybody
sitting
else?
outside and talking to your neighbors. It's
Yeah.
like, we are intentional about talking to some of our neighbors, at least those that come out and those that want to talk, because most of our neighbors here don't come outside. We do not see them.
Yeah. But
But the few
we
neighbors
seen
that
that with
we do,
COVID too. Like
yeah,
COVID, people
yeah,
going there buying stuff up. I'm like, why are you buying things up? Like you don't. There's only so many times you can wipe your ass with buying all the tissue up. Like
yeah. I
why?
never understood that.
Yep.
Like, yeah, people are very me 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 me.
Yeah,
It's
we
sickening.
had a concrete pad installed out in front of our house just so we could sit out. We could sit out front and we could watch the kids play. We could watch the neighborhood, see who's coming, who's going.
Mhm.
Because again, going back to being intentional, just intentionally being out there so people see our faces, and so
Mhm.
people know who we are. Like, yeah, we out here,
But I
we out
feel
here enjoying this sunset.
you being out there is a deterrent. You
Yep.
know, not just well, you mean your child is young at this time, but just being available. A lot of our children, like like I said, yours is young, Norman, but you know Camille and Noah's still young. Camille's getting up there, but D, the kids, what I'm saying, like they have parents that are so active, they're deterrents. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like,
Mhm.
my son thinks about shit. So my presence, my, you know, me being there in his life and me being present, is a deterrent. You know what I'm saying? Daryl, you at every practice, every game, you at the doctor's
Mhm.
appointments, you at the whoop, you're a deterrent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
because your child thinks about that. Like shit, I can't do everything. I can't do certain things because my parent is there.
he's there, yeah. And sometimes we miss that. So a lot of these kids, they don't have the parents as deterrents.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
know, even if some of them are there, they're not deterrents. My mom, and I feel like I got one of the greatest moms in the world. No shade to her. She just had to take care of 5 kids by herself, so she was
Yeah.
working. You know what I'm saying? She
Yep.
wasn't a deterrent. That's how come I was in the 8th grade, able to stay out till 9 o'clock at night, and I was
Mhm.
able to move around. Back in the day, they didn't have the people called the school directly. I mean, they called your house directly. Like it wasn't an
Yeah.
automated system. I
The
was
truancy.
to
Yeah.
erase the message before
Yeah.
moms get home. You know what I'm saying? So she never knew that the school called and, and things like that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but because she wasn't there, she wasn't able to deter the behavior. You
Right.
That's good. Yeah,
know,
being
she wasn't able to
that's a big important point. Being
Yep.
available is a big deal to your child. Like, and I know, like I was going to put the statistic up, the CDC in 2013. It was talking about how actually Black fathers are involved in more activity than any other race with their kids. And but like you said, they try to make it seem like we're the absentee father, and that's not true. They said what else? Oh my goodness, hold on, I'll pull these stats back up for y'all.
Really, really quick, Elton, something just clicked.
Uh,
What I find particularly funny is because as Black people, we're so condensed into certain areas. What I don't understand is how we fell for that okey doke. Because going back to like someone was saying earlier, I didn't really see too many absent fathers. Like I knew a few,
yeah.
but
I
I
don't.
didn't. But I didn't really see that, and I
yeah,
did see parents, male, men and women, that were active in their kids' extracurricular activities and things like that. But because we're condensed, I just don't understand how we got the wool pulled over our eyes to believe that crap. And then
yeah,
now coming out, this late that we finding out this information. Like, nah, like this has always been the thing. But how do we allow ourselves to get food so
I
easy?
think it's media, whether it's music or television.
But you know what? It's the same thing with me staying here in Mexico. People talk about the cartel is so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that when I say at all. This place I'm in is one of the safest places in the world.
Well, it's like a lot of places in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it just depends on where you are.
Yeah, it's not scary at all. Like I was telling somebody the other day, they try and make it when people crossing the border, like all these brown people crossing the border. There are so many European immigrants, but it's never talked about.
Nope. It's a lot more people crossing the border than just Mexicans.
Yes, there's a lot of European immigrants that come into the United States, but it's never talked about. It's only talked about brown. And even here in Mexico, like people like it's not Latino people, it's not Mexican people. It's from like Central America, South America that's coming through Mexico to get to the border. But it's not like Mexican people. And even I've learned now being here, I've learned like when they do come to the States, only reason they come is like, shit, I can be a McDonald's worker, make $15, $20. I send all that money home because the cost of living is much cheaper in here in Mexico.
Everybody come here to make money and send it back home.
Yeah, and once they get to that certain point, they retire. They're going back to Mexico. They're not staying in the United States because it's bullshit. Yeah. So it's the same thing. Like I said with us, the pulling wood out, we're the absentee father. It's not true. Like most, and you're right. Now I look back at us growing up playing football. Fathers, mothers, aunties, uncles, they out there, they active, they involved, they at PTAs, they were at raising money, fundraisers for the football team and different things. They were very involved.
Even now, I can't speak for. I do believe there was a drop off between like our grandparents' generation, and then like our parents, and then it kind of went back up. Because when I was young, a lot of niggas didn't have their daddy around.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, I don't know nobody. Like all my friends or people, I listen. Everybody at their kids' games and like people that I know personally. Like I said, I know a lot of people, and people that I know directly, indirectly. You know what I'm saying? I see more dads active than not active. You know what I'm saying? So I think there was a little drop off. Maybe over the last like 25 years, it's improved. You know what I'm saying?
The question though, Zay, is were they not around because they were actually working, or were they not around because they were just degenerate?
Not active, yeah.
Active.
And that's like my dad. Like a lot of us can't really even answer that.
Yeah, like my dad didn't come to a lot of stuff, but it was because the relationship with him, my mom, wasn't a good relationship.
Multiple reasons, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Outside of just not being present because you work, and that's one thing. Like I said, my mom wasn't always as present because she had to work 2 or 3 jobs.
Right.
My dad wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? But most of the guys who were, of course, I don't know every reason somebody's dad wasn't around, but it could be dead because they was active in peace. It could be because of the relationship between the mom and dad was crazy, and it was like, I'm not doing this. If for whatever the reasons, which I feel like none of it is excusable. You know what I'm saying? You take care of your kids regardless of whatever, but they just wasn't around. Kids that I grew up with didn't have their dads around. You know what I'm saying? But when I start getting like older, I don't know if I could say that. Like like I said, the last maybe 25 plus years is like
a little different.
That's why the statistic probably is where it is now. It's probably like the last 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like in the 80s, it was like that. In the early 90s, it was like that, maybe. But
went through a little slump, but came right back out.
I didn't grow up with my dad in the house at all. And when he was there, him and my mom, it was so volatile. It was better that they weren't there. But he always, he took care of. So he wasn't an absentee father, but he didn't live with us. Yeah. But like you said, I got I got 100 first cousins. My grandma had 22 kids. Some of their dads I never saw.
No, facts. Same
I can say so. Like you're saying about that 80s, that 90s clip, if they weren't dead or, in the streets or whatever, taken care of, whether you were physically there. You know, there were situations, but it ain't never no excuse not to support and do
Right.
that. But you know, I get what Zay is saying, because I also had, like I said, out of those cousins, man, probably 30, 40 of them, their dads was dead.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you know, uncles step in or whoever that person steps in. So, you know, the power of being a dad, or you can say a male figure, period, is what's important. And I think that's one of the key things
And
in the case of
and
schools is you need to.
big factor, the incarceration of our men because of the crack cocaine era was huge. They were putting people in jail for the smallest things. So yeah,
Yeah.
I just what we that about what I think along what we was talking about too. Just the thing saying absentee father is a very false narrative. It's an extremely false narrative. Like I hate, like you know, another thing I hate when people say like black on black crime. It doesn't matter what area, whatever that demographic in that area, the
It's
crime
just
is high
crime.
amongst that
Yeah.
demographic. If you
And
go,
and true to form, because we still suffer from segregation.
Mhm.
To a certain degree, people are often killed by the people that they most around. White
Yes,
folks kill white folks, black folks kill black folks, Chinese folks kill Chinese folks. These numbers are irrefutable. They just are what
yes.
they are.
So people
Nobody
say black on black crime is high. I was like,
on Chinese cry.
What'd you say?
I say, yeah, nobody in China talking about on Chinese.
No,
yeah,
not really.
it's only used to talk about us. Black on black
It's
crime is
yeah, it's only
only
black and
used
white.
about
Yeah, it's only
us.
black and white.
Yes, that's why it's irritating. All right, I'll ask y'all this last question. I'm gonna let y'all go, man. We've been on here. Oh, this is good. I appreciate y'all. All right,
Look, I'm looking at the timer. I'm like, jeez, this time
yeah.
flew by.
I was expecting to do like hour, 2 hours with y'all. All right, what advice could you share with an expecting father? So a father that may not have a kid, they're finna have a baby. Yeah, father that's expecting. So they ain't got no kids yet. Wife pregnant. They're trying to have children. What advice would you give expecting father? For me, I would say the advice I would give is cherish every moment. What that's that the of the process and what's going on. Be patient. Don't rush anything. Um, yeah, and just enjoy life. When you become into fatherhood, definitely things change, the perspective aspects change, but just enjoy it. Don't try and be too strict. Don't I'm learning that now, like to let go of the reins a little bit. But yeah, that's what I would say.
I would say shit's gonna get weird. Be like water.
Be fluid.
Because there's a lot of stuff that you're not gonna understand, and it's okay. It is okay. Don't Google a lot of shit because
Yeah.
it's if you're not used to seeing it, it's not good. Don't be extremely curious. Seek out professionals to tell you certain things, and just be mindful that your body didn't create a human being, and that when she asks you for something within reason, just say, "Okay, dear."
Yes.
I probably would say, I mean, I'm pretty sure we can all say 10 things, 20 things, but um, never stop. We just spoke about it. Never stop being present.
Mm.
Never stop being present. You're going to make mistakes. And there's nothing that's going to go the way you thought it's going to go. You probably in your mind have an idea. Oh, I have a son. They're going to be just like this. When I have a girl, they're going to be just like this. You have an idea, and it's probably not going to go any way
Nope.
that you thought. But never stop being present for them. Learn with them. Learn along the way. Just never stop being present. Don't ever stop being present. That's probably what I would say.
Yeah, I think openly, I would say openly and honestly communicate. You know, definitely communicate openly. Be willing to pivot, like you said. There's going to be things you don't understand. Pivot and don't judge. And like Zay said, be consistent.
Yeah.
Show up. Just show up. Show up to sporting events. Show up to the academic events, because all those things matter. The time goes by so fast, and then you don't know how much time you're afforded. So
Yeah.
I always try to live or move in that space. Like, if this is the last time my kid sees me or my wife sees me, I don't want it to be with this particular notion. I honestly always think that, like, so every morning, I love you. Every night, I love you. Just a positive affirmation.
I want to add one more to your show up, Daryl. Show up to the doctor's offices. Show up to the appointments,
I take them
because
to the.
we do not talk about how important it is. Like, the information you get in
Yeah.
those doctor's appointments helps you out a lot as a beginning father.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm at every one of them things.
Yep,
I was,
everyone.
I ain't missed too many.
you know,
I think I can count on one hand how many I've missed.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll take a day off in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Mhm. I tell my wife, I got it. Dennis, they know me.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, you make me. You know what? That goes into some. So I'm gonna tell y'all something that happened a few years ago. It's a guy I went to college with, and it angered me so bad at these men. I was in this men's group. So, and people was talking about him on social media. So he took a picture with his daughter. His daughter was like doing ballet, and she was in her tutu and stuff. And he had on regular clothes, but he had on a tutu.
Mhm.
And people was
I
talking
remember
about
seeing
how. Yeah, so I went to college with that guy. People talked about him and bashed him so bad. And I
Nothing
said,
wrong with that.
what is more masculine than being present in your child's life? That's the
Nothing
definition
wrong with that.
of
Absolutely
masculinity.
nothing wrong with that.
I was in this men's group. They were like, man, that's so gay. And, I was like, y'all tripping. I was like, that's masculinity. He's present.
Those
That's what
men,
masculinity is.
those men, those are gonna be the ones who these little boys we talking about trying to save. They're gonna get their daughters, them men's daughters, and play them and run through them and you know what I'm saying, all that stuff. Man, I got a picture right now that it's on my social media somewhere, but it's still in my phone, where my niece, my eldest niece, she was probably like 6 at the time, and I let her do my nails.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Like I told you, I took Camille and we got pedicures. I painted my toes.
Man,
It was
Yeah,
great.
we done
told her-
seen Zay in plays. I've dressed up for plays, for multiple things. Man, that's superficial stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
It's
told
neither here nor there,
like, I
man.
want you to remember these moments. I was like, there's going to be a day when I'm not here on this earth with you. And I want you to remember these moments that your dad spent with you so you can create those type of memories when you have your own kids. I was like, I could care less if somebody like, oh, he gay. I don't care.
It doesn't make you any less than a man.
It don't
Less
make
of a
me
man.
less than a
To
man.
your
Like,
face.
yeah. I don't know what
They gonna type it. They not gonna tell you to your
Yeah.
face you gay.
No.
But yeah, that upset me so much about my man's, and me and him talked after that. But I was like, bro, you wearing a tutu with your daughter. I was like, these people on here judging you and he gay. And it was men and women like bashing him. I was like, bro, I see a father. I see
Even
a present.
if he was
father.
gay, and so what?
I seen a present. I didn't even think about that. I was like,
Yeah.
man, he is spending time with his daughter. His daughter's gonna remember this
Right.
moment.
That it was a very cute moment that him and his daughter had. And she'll remember that for a lifetime. And keyboard warriors can F off.
Yeah. That's why I hate social media sometimes. It just be like, y'all be just saying shit. If you see me, I remember saying something to somebody, and they were like, oh, I was like, I will not hesitate to come where you at. I had looked them up. Like, I'm one of those. I'm like, don't fuck this shit on this keyboard.
Those are
Don't
not
do
real
that to me.
because
No.
I'm envious, man, of dads, like, especially now that I have an almost 18-year-old, like, if I was, I love girl dads. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's the only thing I'm missing. Like, I feel like I'll probably be a better girl dad than I am you know what I'm saying? Like, when I see you with Camille, you know what I'm saying? You already know how I feel about Ava. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I see those moments with them and see how they engage with their dad, how much they love their dad, and you know what I'm saying? And even when, they were younger, you know what I'm saying? I remember when they was both toddlers, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's a beautiful
Yeah, it is.
fucking thing, man.
Yeah, like now
Beautiful.
seeing y'all, I look back at all the kids. Like I was just looking at pictures of Jordy the other day, and I was like, man, Jordy like went out of school. I'm Tati's daughter graduating, and I was like, man, these are kids that I taught. Even little Dare, I'm like, man, I remember this little, and I look back at pictures when Tati's holding Camille, and Camille was
Yeah,
6 months, a year old.
yeah.
Now she's 11. I'm like, man, time really flies, and I'm glad I got to make some sort of impression. These kids probably don't remember me at all, but I remember them, and I watched them from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
I got kids that just graduated from Prairie View that I taught when I was here in Texas. What's my girl? My two girls. She just had her second baby. She was in Texas, and Miss Tony's, not Miss Tony's, her daughters. But it's just all these kids were growing up and seeing them. It's extremely beautiful. Shit, Lil Zay, I'm like, shit, when you said he was 18, I was like, God damn, 18?
Listen, man. all the 18 attitude, too.
Man, that's crazy. But yeah, I'm not going to hold y'all no more. Just want to talk. First off, once again, appreciate y'all so much. I thank you. I thank you for answering the call of having this conversation on fathers and fatherhood. We probably gonna have to do this again. I know the mothers have already told me we gotta do the mamas again. It was really good conversation, but I appreciate y'all. Y'all's went way longer. It was just a good conversation.
I'm game anytime. Like,
it's good just to have it, because I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. I tell people all the time, I ain't here to be perfect. I ain't here to lie to niggas. Them teenagers be kicking my butt. It's been like it's like a 2-3 year stretch where it's been winning. I'm like 0-3 the last 3.
I get it. I'm like Camille's that age. It's tough. That's why when you was talking about do you like me? It is. It's heartbreaking to me. I ain't gonna lie. My daughter is like my world, and she just be like, man, fuck you. Go on with that. I be like, what did I do to you?
Yeah.
But you know what? It's funny because this is the equivalent of what it would be if we was just brothers sitting in the hood just chit chat.
No,
We just using technology to sit in the hood and chit chat. That's all it is. We just upgrade and doing
real talk sessions. Real talk sessions.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate y'all. So before y'all go, if you want to give a shout out to your social media, if you want anybody to go follow you, go ahead and do that. So that way people know where to follow you, where to find you if they want to, hit you on social media.
I thought it was a chat.
I like to stay incognito, so I do not want to be followed at this current point in time. So
that sounds like somebody with a wife or girl. You know what I'm saying?
His wife commented. His wife said, "Happy Father's Day to us."
Look, I gotta run it past her desk. First. Like, hey.
Oh yeah. El Jefe, every time I get something done here, they be like, so this is the price. I was like, I gotta run it past El Jefe. Me and Sposa, that means my wife, the boss.
Somebody with a wife, a girl and stuff. I know how to do it. That's her talking.
Yeah. Yeah, nah. I'm with him. I'm good. I'll stay anonymous to some degree. Let's be on the next talk. Next Father Dad talk.
I'm with
the bros.
I'm single, but I'm with the bros. At this point, what the song say? If you don't know me by now, you know what I'm saying? You don't know me by now, you ain't gonna.
I hope Danielle is watching. You see, Danielle, I'm not the only one. Danielle hates when I play that song.
Never, ever know me.
That's so when you talk about the music, that's my song when she get upset at me or I'm upset at her. If you
Just about.
don't know, she be like,
You
all
know
right.
what it is.
Come here.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
for us, this me and Danielle platform, our family Exodus. You can follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We're not on Facebook. But feel free if anybody that's watching, feel free to like and subscribe, share. And we appreciate y'all. We appreciate everything. Happy Father's Day to these men. Let's give yourselves a
Yes,
hand.
sir. Thank you, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Y'all enjoy it, and
Bye.
then
Bye
Halo
bye.
man.
Hey, we should have a conversation. My wife always like to say I'll be double standard in between my son and my daughter, so we can have a dad's versus mom's convo.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
We can look.
We're
You
gonna
know
need
what?
about 6 hours.
Well, let's do it. I'm down. Let me get when Danielle get back from Danielle in Bali right now. When she get back, let's set this up. Let's have a conversation with the dads.
Yeah, I'll let Ozzy do that when I'm gonna be in the bathroom.
Hey,
Yeah, I plead the fifth. There are. Yeah,
I got something to say. I can already hear it. I can hear her explaining it right now in my head. No,
and,
let me
and you
tell
know
you.
she,
Let me
you
tell
know
you
she
what
been
Daryl.
ear
Let me
hustling.
tell you what Daryl.
Oh my goodness. Me
You
and
know
Danielle
she
be
been
talking about
popping
that
out
like
ear hustling too.
don't have no car conversation. Me and Danielle got this thing we call it car conversations when we out somewhere and then somebody talking. Then when you get in the car, you be like, "Hey man, why you say that shit?" And it was like you be at a party or something, and then the party you been there like 8 hours, and then you get in that car.
The
Like, what you
the
said?
moment the door closed.
Yeah, the moment we get in the car. Why'd you say that? What say what? Why'd you say that about that one girl that I was like, that was 8 hours ago. We still on that?
It was waiting for that door to close. She was waiting. Her seat
I've
was.
learned to
Yeah.
just be quiet in those moments and just let her have her peace
Yeah.
and nod. Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm gonna end the stream. Hold on a minute, but y'all stay on.
All right.